It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. Fun panel today. Of course it's fun. We got Philip Elmer-DeWitt, Harry McCracken, and Owen J.J. Stone. Oh, Doctor. We'll be talking about the latest news, including Harry's cover story at Fast Company about the future of Facebook. And we spent a little bit of time talking about Black Friday deals. A whole lot more coming up next on Twit. Stay here.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is Twit This Week in Tech, episode 538, recorded Sunday, November 29th, 2015. The Crackerjack Computer. This Week in Tech is brought to you by Gazelle, the online marketplace for buying and selling used gadgets. Shop from a variety of certified pre-owned electronics or trade one in for cash. Give new life to a used device at Gazelle.com today. And by Carbonite. You never know when disaster will strike at work or at home. Prepare for the unexpected with Carbonite. Protect digital files on your computer or server with secure, automatic cloud backup from Carbonite. Visit Carbonite.com today and get 2 free bonus months. Use the offer code TWIT. And by FreshBooks, the super simple cloud accounting software that's giving thousands of freelancers and small businesses the tools to save time billing and get paid faster. Try it free at freshbooks.com/twit. And by Harry's. For guys who want a great shave experience for a fraction of what you're paying now, go to harrys.com. Get $5 off your first purchase by entering the code TWIT5 when you check out. It's time for Twit This Week in Tech, the show where we cover the latest tech news. And, actually, we were talking before the show about the latest news, and we were so depressed that we decided to watch cat videos. And now I feel much, much better. Thank you, oh, doctor. He's the doctor of my brain. He told me what to do. Cats for the win. Cats for the win. By the way, the world is burning over your left shoulder, just in case you
maybe turn that off.
Maybe you didn't know that. Were you playing a little Call of Duty before the show?
Call of Duty.
Is this a new studio? Is this the new IQMZ studio?
Yeah, and this is the new pit for me and my daughter to play games together.
Oh, the
which
game
is what
pit.
I was doing all day. We were out there twitching, playing Battlefront all day.
Battlefront, not Call of Duty.
I'm not the best Call of Duty player, first of all, and second of all, I get really angry with that game, so I try not to play that with children. Battlefront was like, we played it together. We actually beat 2 missions, and she was so happy, and she's addicted to Star Wars, so
there you go.
It's a win-win for me.
Oh, Battlefront, not Battlefield. You're playing the Star Wars MMORPG.
Yeah, did I say Battlefield? I meant Battlefront.
No, you said Battlefront. My brain said Battlefield.
Yeah, Battlefront.
Is that a good game?
Man, it's great. A lot of people have a lot of complaints about it, but people complain about everything.
Yeah.
It's fun for what I want to do, and it's fun for what she wants to do. You get to be Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker. You shoot things, you lightsaber things, and you get to fly.
Who did you choose to be?
Everybody.
Everybody.
The only person I don't like being is the Sith Lord. I don't like being the old guy. He doesn't do that much special stuff.
Could I be Jar Jar?
There is no Jar Jar. They would not do that to anybody.
Another
People
reason
would break
to love
the
it.
disc if that happened. But Darth Vader and Luke obviously are the 2 pinnacles.
Yeah.
Playing
You're working your way up. Yeah. I wouldn't mind being Boba Fett. That'd be kind of fun. He had a nice outfit. Also here, Harry McCracken, the technologizer from fastcompany.com. I can still call you the technologizer.
You can do that forever.
And, are you using an iPad Pro?
This is the iPad Pro.
With a new Apple...
I'm curious to see how well it works as a Twit tablet, given that it's a little bit larger and I didn't want to block
It's kind of more like a laptop than
it's much more laptop.
Your previous iteration. And you went for the Apple keyboard, not the Logitech Create
The
keyboard.
Logitech one is good, too. I mean, if you want an actual laptop-type keyboard, the Logitech is quite good, but it's also larger and heavier as a case. And
Did you get the pencil yet?
I have the pencil. The pencil is really cool.
Yeah. I was in the Apple store on day after Thanksgiving. I realized after we already left for the mall that this is Black Friday. I thought, oh, my God, what have I done? But it was late in the day, and they had 3 Apple Pencils, so I canceled my online order, and I got
They had them for sale?
Yeah,
Wow.
3 of them. Also here, Philip Elmer-DeWitt from Fortune.com at PhilipEd or ped at Mac.com. Wait, you want to give out your email address, really?
Sure.
Why not?
Yeah.
Nice to have you.
SWAT me.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear. Good article in the Sunday Times, actually, about swatting. What is swatting, Philip?
That's when you find someone you don't like very much, and you give the police their address, and you say the person there has just murdered 4 people, and they're about to kill somebody else. You better hurry up and get there. So the SWAT teams, and there's SWAT teams in 80% of the towns in America with over 30,000 people. So they're plenty available.
Special weapons and tactical unit.
Right. So they show up in their bulletproof cars with their black masks and their grenade launchers and their submachine guns, and they burst into your house, and your poor parents are stunned to find that they're being shackled and dragged out of the house. Of course, and it happens a lot apparently.
And the sad thing is, it's of course a terrible waste of resources. Costs thousands of dollars. Takes police off duty for a non-crime when they should be and could be fighting real crime. And there's always the risk when you've got high-powered rifles aimed at you that somebody's going to get hurt.
Right, and people, I think one person has been shot. But, you don't, it's not healthy to have angry police with weapons pointing them at you.
Yeah.
And the other thing, what this article, the story it tells about one individual who did a lot of these things.
His name handle was obnoxious, so he clearly didn't mind being obnoxious.
And because he was underage, the newspaper never mentioned his name.
Yeah.
And he's currently incarcerated. But it took a lot to track him down, and he had to really ask for it before. He turned out to be a Canadian, and the Americans had a hard time getting the Mounties to step up to the plate and do something.
Turns out that a lot of this is happening on Twitch.tv. In fact, most of Obnoxious's SWATs were to Twitch streamers, people who are playing games, and he particularly focused on women using Twitch to play games. Some of these women, it was their full-time job. This was a big deal for them, and he would harass them endlessly and eventually swat them, and sometimes many times. And at the same time say, I'm unextraditable, I'm untouchable, I can't be arrested, knowing that, A, there isn't really any law yet against this. You would think it'd be a felony. It's a misdemeanor.
How can it not be a felony?
A good question.
I want to say something like, oh, well, why don't they have caller ID to know where the call is coming from? But then at the same time, you read about the stories of the girl placing an order online with her and left a note in the pizza spot saying she's being kidnapped and stuff like that. And somebody from online was playing a game. They heard somebody being beaten in the background. It actually worked to the advantage to come and help the person. So I guess they still got to go check it out. But I mean, if you're getting phone calls from Canada, that should just raise your suspicion.
So our swatter and this guy too, I'm sure they use. There are a lot of services online that allow you to spoof any number you want. So they could even use a local number. That doesn't matter. They don't know the guys from Canada. They did track him down using, subpoenaing the company that does the spoof numbers and working their way through the ranks. It's not an easy thing to do. It's very difficult. It takes a lot of subpoenas. But once they found out he was in Canada, then there was very little they could do except to try to get the cooperation of Canadian authorities. And in fact, they didn't get the cooperation until, get this, Obnoxious started streaming his SWAT calls on Twitch. And then they called up and said, hey, watch Twitch. He's doing it.
He was a tad overconfident, thank God.
Does everybody, do all our listeners know about Twitch? Maybe the doctor who does it can explain what that is.
Twitch.tv. You ever do a little twitching?
Yeah, I was twitching today with my daughter.
Do you stream on Twitch?
Now I feel bad about it. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't.
You shouldn't feel bad. In fact, one of our, my old producer, one of our great friends, OMG Chad, streams quite successfully on Twitch.
Yeah.
Twitch allows you to take a picture of yourself while you're playing a game. It's these Let's Play videos, generally live. The chat room very active. Apparently, the chat room can donate. Chad makes some good money from people donating as they watch. So they'll give a buck, $5, $10, lots of money sometimes. Kind of to support you, kind of like a Patreon-style crowdsource. And so there are quite a few people who make a living twitching. It's all about community. It's kind of what we do. If you build a community around what you're doing, people love you. Chad said the best thing to do if you're on Twitch, it's not really about the game. It's about you and relationship with the chat room. You got to interact with the chat room, talk to them. You got to cultivate a community there.
Is part of the appeal that they're giving away cheats? They're showing people how to solve the problems on these first-person shooter games.
I think for some people it's instructional, but more it's fun, I think, right?
It could be for anything. Like I watched a couple times where I did want to learn how to get past a level, and you can watch somebody beat the game that you're trying to beat, or you're just sitting there like you're bored and you're hanging out. You got it on the background. Like today, a guy was watching me and my daughter play Battlefront. We're not good or anything, but he was watching it, and when he got done, he's like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna go buy that game because it looks like you guys were having fun," and he gets to see somebody play it. As opposed to watch somebody do a review where they tell you something's perfect and it's paid for advertisement, basically, you can actually watch people play it and you can see if they're enjoying it or not.
I think if people are looking
when I'm playing with a kid and she's hyped on it, that means it's all right.
Right. When you're looking to beat a level or you're looking for cheat codes, you go to YouTube and you can watch YouTube Let's Play videos that are to the point. They will say, here's what you do this, 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 and this. Twitch is it's really much more social, although some of it is this idea of gaming as a spectator sport, like football. And I think some of it is also that. League of Legends is huge on Twitch, and people are really, you sometimes have thousands of people watching a game between well-known players on Twitch, and that's a big part of it as well.
It's just amazing to me that a whole economy has grown up around Twitch, that you can actually make a living.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Well, we live in very interesting times. You can make a living. So what is this? This is a guy...
this is
getting swatted. Oh yeah, this is a well-known Twitcher, and this is the danger of it. I mean, guns drawn. The police are acting responsibly because what they've heard is a call saying I'm being held hostage or I'm going to shoot people. The guy who swatted us said I've placed bombs all around Twit. I'm going in there. I have a bunch of weapons. I'm going to shoot everybody execution style and then blowing the place up. And so, now the good news is our local police department knew about swatting, and they reacted very sensibly to it.
I would hope that every police department would know about it, but I wonder if that's true.
I think they're learning. Here's an example. This is obnoxious at work in Ontario, California, which is in the L.A. area. The police got a call. A local man was doing dope, had shot and killed his father with an AR-15, was thinking about killing his mother. They sent, this is the Ontario Police Force, 32 units to the address. That's 90% of the available law enforcement resources, including 3 supervisors, throngs of squad cars, an armored Bearcat, that's an armored vehicle, a helicopter, a canine unit, only to find 3 people, a mother, her boyfriend, and her son inside and perfectly safe. The son was a League of Legends gamer who had angered Obnoxious merely by defending one of his female victims online. The ordeal cost Ontario $6,500, but the detective assigned to the case said, hey, I've got felony cases sitting in my lap. Why would I take this cyber case, tracking down all these records, trying to find a guy who's in another country? And that's the problem. And even if they catch him, most of the time it's a misdemeanor. Now, there are moves to make these more seriously illegal. This is the, I have to say, we're really exposed to the dark side of the internet. The New York Times published it in the magazine today, so I think a lot of other people are going to know about it.
And what happens if there's a real problem during the time that 90% of the resources are being wasted?
And the New York Times, being the liberal rag that it is, I say that with jest, but of course focused on the over-militarized police as the problem, and I don't think that's exactly fair.
Again, the one time they don't show up and it's a real situation, now they've got a problem on their hands.
Yeah.
So.
No, they have to do, and I think they are doing exactly what they need to do. And one hopes they're well-trained so they don't shoot unless there's cause to shoot. But you can't, to be in that position of being faced with heavily armed people.
That's why I don't play on Xbox. Like, I know you love your Xbox, but
what?
The rhetoric I hear from my Xbox versus my PlayStation, my PS4 is like full of adults. And yeah, you get some banter that's annoying sometimes.
The Xbox is worse?
My Xbox... Oh, it's exponentially worse. Like, it's over the top worse than people on PlayStation. Dramatically. Like, just go play Call of Duty for an hour on each system, and you'll see it. Just hop in and out of lobbies, and you'll It's insane, the difference.
Now, this kid was 16, the kid who's doing this. He was abused by his father, beaten by his father. His mother was mentally ill and hospitalized. They did interview him, and I guess psychologists interviewed him and said, he's well on his way to being a psychopath. That is, somebody who apparently has no moral compass, enjoys the pain of others, but doesn't really have any empathy for others. The problem is, it doesn't take many of those people with technical skills to make this cause a problem. There's 10 of them. I mean, he was swatted hundreds and hundreds of times, and it was very difficult. If it weren't for kind of a fairly obsessed detective named Finley pursuing this from, I think it was Alpharetta, Georgia, B.A. Finley, Johns Creek outside Atlanta, he probably never would have been caught.
So why is it that it's so easy to spoof caller ID? If you had
trivial.
Yeah, but could we create spoof-proof caller ID and do a lot to ameliorate this?
Yeah, well, this comes down to really the fundamental issue on the internet in general of bad behavior, which is anonymity. There's a real nexus between if you don't know who I am, I can do anything I want. It's a problem in forums, it's in social media, in our chat room. We allow anonymity in our chat room because I think anonymity is important. I think people ought to be able to, kind of have handles and express themselves. We've talked from time to time about not, having a verified chat room, making sure that we know who people are. It would certainly eliminate a lot of problems, but I think there's a good case to be made that people should be able to participate anonymously, except that some people, very few, take advantage of that. And that's really what it comes down to, right? Is it?
Almost every spam phone call I get, and I get a lot of them these days, appears to be coming from my own area code.
Oh, yeah. Every time.
I assume none of them are actually in San Francisco.
Every time.
But you're more likely to pick it up because you think it might be a friend or a local business or whatever.
Somebody's saying, I think it's probably right, because of the widespread use of VoIP and, digital phone calling, it'd probably be almost impossible to prevent this.
I use Google Voice, which is sort of a form of number spoofing.
Right. Skype, when you call from Skype, you don't get a normal number when you call somebody from Skype. All right, that's enough. We watched cat videos to forget this, and now I'm depressed again.
What are you depressed for? It's your birthday. You can party and dance if you want to. I don't hear about that. Nobody swatted us, so we're good. We're good.
Yeah. I love this. Apple Watch owners glance at their wrists 60 to 80 times a day. Philip, you had this story at Fortune.com. There are actually two different studies you quote.
Yeah, the best one was the not the Wristly one. Wristly every week asks a question of a group of 2,500 watch owners, which is not representative, but it gives you a sense.
It's a large sample size, but it's self-reporting, right?
Right, and people who hate the watch probably aren't going to answer questions about what they do with it. But the second study, remind me who did it. I don't have this in front of me.
It was a university study, University of Stockholm's Mobile Life Center.
Right, so they strapped cameras onto a dozen people and followed them for a month and recorded whenever they could. They recorded the interactions. So they got actual. This is real data. And, not surprisingly, they look at their watch most often, like 50% of the things. And then
see
they
what
look
time it is.
Yeah.
What a thought.
Go figure. And actually, it drops off dramatically after watch face and notifications. Suddenly we're down to 6% workout time or 6% notifications. And you get down to checking mail. 0.1%.
I think the notifications is interesting because any watch will give you the 50% case, which is what time is it. In fact, most watches do it better than the Apple Watch does because it doesn't show the time unless you do it just right. Flick your wrist just right. But notifications are really small. No more than 23% of use if you include the two there.
Right.
And activity is maybe 10% of the use. That's what people say they get the watch for. They say they get the watch so they don't have to get the phone out of the pocket to see who's calling or just, they say they get it because it monitors their activity and they can become more healthy. Truth is they don't. They use it mostly to see what time it is.
But I think for me, the original pitch for the watch was that, if you're like me and you're pulling your phone out of your pocket 100 times a day, each phone interaction, by the time you unlock it and see what it is and think about whether it's about a minute. And the average interaction that they found in this Swedish study was something like, it was less than 7 seconds. And for looking at the watch, for looking at what time it is, or looking at notifications, we're talking about, 3.8, 9.2 seconds. Anyway, you replace the idea of replacing a 1 minute interaction with a 3 or 4 or 5 second interaction. There's a business to be made there.
I guess
it's not huge.
Yeah,
and it's a subset of the iPhone market, which is really what Apple cares about.
Right.
The watch. It's the Apple's business revolves around the sun that is the iPhone, and every other the watch, the TV, the iPad, the Mac now are all peripheral to the phone. And to the extent to which you buy into any of those peripheral products, you're more likely to buy a phone and stick with a phone. So anyway, I sound a little defensive because I think there's a lot of people. The conventional wisdom is that the watch is a bust, and we don't have the Black Friday numbers yet, but my guess is that they're going to come out better than Wall Street thinks, and certainly better than the naysayers think.
The analysts say they're selling about 1 million a month. That's not a bad business.
Not too
And
shabby.
as far as the activity part you're talking about, you also have to remember that unless you have like one of the newer Fitbits, 90% of those pedometers don't show you your steps. Like I see people, like I have friends that wear the Jawbone that I used to have, and you just see girls like just doing high steps. So what are you doing? I'm getting my steps in. They can't see how many steps they're doing, but they're doing them. So same thing with your watch. I don't check my steps until the end of the day, or like when I'm riding my bike, I set it up.
Yeah.
But you think about it, you know that you're doing it. You don't have to check and say, oh, I took 5 steps today. So no, you're not doing that, because that's not even a natural thing to do. Most of those devices sync to your phone, and you look at it at the end of the day, or if you think you've been too lazy, this gives you the nudge. You've been sitting for an hour, makes you think about it. So no, they're not going in and checking activity like, oh, I burned 300 calories sitting here on Twit for the last 2 hours. That's not something that you normally do, but most of those devices don't do that per se.
I think Flying Roaches in our chat room got it. He said they've left out a fairly hefty percent, like 50%. It's really just for you to show other people, I have an Apple Watch.
The MyTag, have you seen the MyTag stand?
Chosen person. No, what's that?
MITAGG.com.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful stand with elegant lines and an LED light.
Oh, I want this.
Yeah, you do.
That's my new birthday present.
That's happy birthday.
How do I get out of this? Get away. I hate this.
Anywhere,
no, I don't want to give you my email address.
Click in the corner, off of it. Click off of it. It should go away.
Thank
there you
go. God, I hate that.
It's the first tab.
Wanted my email address. The new dock power lamp station, $179.
It's pretty.
You can get it in brushed aluminum, aka silver, or space gray to match your whatever, your iPhone. Oh, you can get it with or without Nookie. What's that?
I have no idea what that is.
You don't know what Nookie is?
Oh, wait a minute. Nookie is the portable battery. Well, I don't know why you would need Nookie. Anyway.
I'm trying so hard not to sing.
I know, you're doing good. It's fun to kind of just watch you steam come out of your ears on that one.
I know, it's a horrible situation. But isn't that thing pretty and elegant and LED-ified and sounds like a good birthday present?
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. When you sending me one?
ASAP.
It's more expensive with Nookie.
Isn't it always?
There you go. There you go. I gave you a nice one. That's good. That's good. That's good. Always
leave it
is.
alone. I tried.
I kept trying. I gave him in the opening, and he finally fell right in.
And I think it's really incumbent upon third-party developers to come up with transcendent Apple Watch apps.
Which they haven't.
Which they have. I think for certain people, there are certain apps which are a big deal, but there's nothing that people see it and say, oh, my God, I need to get the Apple Watch in order to do this thing. As opposed to something like the iPhone, there are dozens of apps which are so compelling. You might get an iPhone just to use them, and there's nothing like that for the Apple Watch or for Android Wear yet. except for notifications, which for a lot of people are by themselves.
Well, for instance, I have a chat app on my iPhone called IRC Chat. Whenever my name is mentioned in the chat room, it not only shows up on my phone, it shows up on the watch.
Yep.
And I was in the movies last night, and I was going, stop it, stop it, stop it. Sometimes notifications are not a good thing.
Right.
You get too many notifications.
Smartwatches in general are a pain in a theater.
You put it on silent. There's a button for that.
Yeah, it turns out, it took me a while to figure this out. I actually have to go to the iPhone and change the notification settings for that application.
But you can also just swipe up and then hit the silent button like I did right now, so I'm not getting notifications. Like,
yeah. Just say it's silent.
Just turn it off. That's all. Super simple.
Yeah.
Or airplane mode if you don't like.
Oh, airplane mode. That's what I should have done.
All kinds of things.
And then I could just throw the watch away because it's not connected to anything, and who needs it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're good to go. Pro tip. Pro tip.
But it would be nicer if it knew that I was in a movie theater because it used GPS on my phone to locate me.
It could be smarter.
And then shut it off automatically.
It could be smarter.
Now you just ask for miracles.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, will there be a Apple Watch 2 this year, or is Apple going to, I don't know what, hold off? We shall talk more. Philip Elmer-DeWitt is here, longtime Apple watcher, but also a great writer for Fortune at Fortune.com. From Fast Company, Harry McCracken. And from nowhere but his own self, Owen J.J. Stone. Oh, doctor. Is IQMZ launched?
I have a whole bunch of shows in the can.
It's launched and it crashed. It's kind of like...
I was down and out for 2 weeks.
Oh, you were? I'm sorry. You feeling better?
I am 100% better.
Did you get that flu?
Now that I got strep throat from my daughter and all the kids at school, and then I saw a doctor who prescribed me the wrong medicine and put me in the hole. It was a bad situation. So
that's
I got a
another
new doctor.
thing. We should have a hot conversation about that. What the hell's going on with medical care in this country? It's getting worse. We're paying more and we're getting less.
I don't know.
What the hell's going on?
I got in a bad situation because I'm not allergic to anything. So when they ask me that question all the time, oh, were you allergic to this or to that? I always say no because as far as I've known, I've never been allergic. So they gave me a medication that they normally don't give, and I happen to apparently be allergic to it.
Jeez.
And I kept taking it, trying to get better, and I kept getting worse. And then I'm thinking there's something else is wrong, and I'm like, so it was a whole to do. But I am like back to
glad you're better
100% now, so I'm good.
But you have a kid in school, so it's pretty much guaranteed you're going to get sick again.
It travels home.
It really does. You know what I hate? I hate losing money on an old gadget. That's what I hate. That's why I go to Gazelle, the online marketplace, for selling your old stuff. Trade in your device for cash. You wouldn't throw a $100 bill in a drawer to gather dust. Why are you throwing that old smartphone or tablet in the drawer when you're done with it? Just go to Gazelle and get a quote. You may be amazed. Yours quote is good for 30 days, by the way, which is nice. Shipping is free. Payment is fast. And if you're looking to buy a certified pre-owned device, replace, say, a broken or lost phone, Gazelle has a variety of iPhones and iPads and Samsung Galaxy phones to choose from. And the nice thing about buying a Gazelle, every device is fully inspected. They have a 30-point checklist, including things like, no big scratches, things like that. They're back with a 30-day return policy. When you buy, you can choose the quality, like new or slightly used, so that you can get replaced your phone in pretty much the same condition it was. They're always sold without carrier contract, but they do work on all the major carriers: AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint. Now that the new iPhone is here, the new iPad also here, now's the best time to buy a certified pre-owned device because there's a lot of people trading up, and you can take advantage of that. Gazelle has an incredible selection of quality pre-owned devices at great prices. iPhone 4S through 6 Plus. For iPads, they got standard, they got Airs, they got your minis. I like the mini. They can even cater to Android users with the Galaxy phones there. Gazelle, give new life to used electronics. Trade them in for cash or buy certified pre-owned. If you're feeling a little, bad about the landfill and all that stuff going in the landfill, Gazelle.com is the responsible way to kind of pay it forward. Gazelle. You like that iPad? I find the iPad Pro awfully big.
It is large, but I'm trying to use it as my primary computer. So doing serious writing, it's good for great big spreadsheets.
Makes me long for my Mini. I have actually, if Burke or somebody would get my iPad Pro and the pencil and everything, I also got the Apple keyboard and I got the Logitech. I like the Logitech better, but it's so big and heavy.
Yeah, it's a little bit cumbersome just in terms of not of the size of the keyboard, but the whole package.
Yeah. But the Apple keyboard's hard to, it's a chiclet, so it's hard to type on. It doesn't move, the keys don't move.
It looks really chiclety, but after
using move a little.
It took me about 2 days until I was able to go at the same speed I was with anything else.
And your fingers aren't sore?
No, not at all.
Oh, good.
And it's nice and thin.
You think it's going to be a hit?
I think for certain type of people, including me, it is ideal. And the big question is, how many of those people are there?
Yeah.
Most people are not going to buy. Most people will not buy this and a laptop because it's the price of a pretty nice laptop.
Yeah, when I think about what I paid for this thing.
I think artists will go gaga for it. I mean, pencil is just great.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Pencil is just fantastic. If you like to draw and paint.
This is much like you were saying, Philip, for the Apple Watch. If the apps appear that support this unique form factor. By the way, how does this work? You gotta.
You have to, when you snap it on, you have to put it the iPad on so it looks like it's upside down, and then you go like yay.
This is great.
No, it's like
you have it on backwards, I think.
Oh,
Johnny Ive is
It just works.
The iPad on like yay.
$170, and it's an accordion basically. All right, there, I got it.
There you go.
There we go. There you go.
Where's your pen?
Oh, it's right here, and actually, I have to say now you can use notes, but you're going to want to use like paper from 53 or one of the.
Paper's great. Procreate is really good.
Yeah.
I've been using something called Sketches.
Oh, I haven't tried that. Procreate's more like an art, but it's nice because you have a variety of brushes. This is 53. You have a variety of brushes and styles, and it's pretty fast. I've been able to get ahead of it, but it's fairly low latency, and it feels. It's interesting. They say the nibs wear out.
It comes with a spare.
So that means that this is glass. What would?
That's true of any of these digital styluses.
They wear out.
Wacom's,
right?
The tip can wear out.
Show us the ruler.
The ruler. Let's tap the ruler. I don't know. I'm not doing it right. What do I do? Huh? Use it to draw a square. Well,
there you go.
It just, that's cool. What happens if you draw a circle? It becomes a circle.
It cleans it up.
Oh, that's kind of cool. It's thinking.
Welcome to Samsung tablets, 1988.
Shut up. You're making me.
This is like Vizio in 1992.
Yeah, really, I don't know when you talk about artists wanting this, the Wacom tablet that has Android in it and you can use Photoshop and everything like that without having a computer. Yeah. I see tons of kids rocking those things.
Oh, really?
And for the price point, I don't know if you're gonna. I have to see this with Photoshop and CAD to know if that's like a legit star to work with that. The pencil does feel amazing, looks amazing, all that stuff. But when I see artists using those Wacom tablets, they are fierce with those things and they just work. And they're ahead of the curve.
By the way, you're right. Somebody in the chat room said it's from 53. It's called paper. But if I say paper, what am I doing? This is paper by 53, or I just call it 53.
There are at least 3 different apps called Paper. There's Dropbox Paper. There's Facebook Paper.
Yeah, it's too generic. But see, the icon says 53, so that's.
There's also a 53 pencil, which is no relation to the Apple Pencil.
I drew this this morning. I thought I was pretty proud of it. No, I didn't. Wish I did. Somebody did, not me. All I can do is deface paintings now. It's really good for that, but that's about it. I could draw a mustache on the bird.
I love Photoshop on an actual computer. Yeah. I don't like Photoshop on something which is touch-centric because Photoshop still has 15,000 too many features which get in the way. It has drop-down menus which were always designed for a mouse pointer.
Right.
Personally, I think there is a total need for something like the iPad Pro that specifically because it does not run Photoshop in this full-blown form.
They have various little
Adobe
versions.
is trying to break down Photoshop into its core components and do standalone apps, which were designed for touch.
Has anybody ever talked to calligraphers? I mean, they show calligraphy in the Apple videos, but I don't know if, calligrapher is very much part of the calligraphy is the pen nib on paper and the friction that's creating, and I don't know if a calligrapher would like this or not.
That's why they showed that, so they can have you have that exact feeling of what you just said, whether people use it or not for that. It makes you feel like it's right.
Yeah.
For calligraphy, it kind of feels like cheating, though, because you can use a calligraphy tool that does the heavy lifting for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's the kind of calligraphy I do, so that's okay. This is not for me, for sure, but go ahead, Phil.
Yeah. Well, it just sort of feels like there's got to be vertical markets where this is totally appropriate. And that my fiance, who's an architect, actually got cold called by Apple, or maybe by IBM working for Apple, saying, would you like us to come in and give your shop a demo of this new tool?
Yeah.
And I thought that was really smart. It sounds like they're really going after the enterprise market. And then she called back and said, yeah, please schedule me. And they never followed up.
What?
Yeah. So isn't that Apple? Isn't that Apple for you? They
Get
almost
your beak wet
get
and let
the
you do it.
enterprise. They almost get the enterprise, and then they don't have it quite right.
It's fun for gaming.
Did you do that?
Yeah, I did that all by myself. No, this is a game called Stranger's Wrath, which was one of my favorite games on the Xbox. I don't know how to get through the cutscene.
What's the advantage of doing it on the?
It's
on
giant.
the Pro?
It's big. Plants vs. Zombies, giant. And and this is part of the problem also, it's new, of course, maybe this will change, but for most apps they haven't taken advantage of the extra space. Even Apple hasn't. Look at the grid layout.
Yeah, the desktop.
For the icons.
Every icon has its own zip code, basically.
Yeah. So even Apple hasn't really, but I imagine in time, I don't think Apple's going to change Springboard.
It's a little bit buggy too. Like when you plug it in at night, it tends to freeze up, and you need to do a hard reset in the morning.
That's not good. And then of course the pen you charge, this is really weird. Fortunately, you don't have to do it very often. The pen you charge by sticking in the. Now they do give you a adapter that you can use a plug with, but it's kind of weird, isn't it?
Apple and their adapters.
Apple adapters. They don't cost much.
My Wacom tablet doesn't need batteries. It just works.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that Wacom doesn't need batteries is like one of the coolest things in the history of tech.
Right.
Yeah.
The Surface Pen does need a battery, but only once a year.
They're replaceable too. They're not rechargeables.
It's a AAAA, which I didn't even know existed until I used the Surface.
Yeah. I like the Surface a lot. I use the Surface Book, and I like it a lot because I do think touch is natural. But this feels more constrained, a little bit more constrained with it. I don't know. Where's the battery settings? I want to see if I can see the battery usage on the pen. Oh, it doesn't show the pen. Somewhere I saw it.
There's if you do pull down at the top, there's a little widget in the notification area.
Right. It's here, yeah. So, wow, I've already used 50% of the pencil. But look, it's because it was 100% 4 days ago. So I don't know why, but look how fast it's charging up. You can almost see
it charges pretty quickly.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know why. I just saw that you used it, and I thought I'd ask you how you like it.
For me, it's great. I think it's also cool that Apple is doing the first iOS device, which is sort of a computer. I think it will lead to good things over time.
Now I have to sit here with this sticking out of my iPad Pro until it charges up.
No, you can pull
don't.
it
You
out.
just unplug it. You're not doing anything. You're not writing any novels right now.
But I don't want it to die in the middle of my special painting.
I just top mine off periodically.
Oh, you could turn it off?
I just stick it in for like 2 minutes, and then I pull it out again.
Top it off. Yeah.
I use it like an inkwell.
I'm topping off right now. Yeah. Will there be an Apple Watch this year, Philip Elmer-DeWitt?
Now there is an Apple Watch. Will there be a new one?
Oh yeah, no, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It doesn't feel right to me. I mean, Apple is learning that these products have natural cycles. The phone used to be 2 years. They're trying to push it up to 1 year. The Macs, what do they have? 4 or 5, 6 year lifespan. The iPad, they guessed wrong. They thought people were going to upgrade more frequently, and they don't.
Yeah.
So the watch doesn't feel like an every year product to me. What I could see is this sort of monthification of Apple, where you start buying stuff like you with the automatic upgrade thing you do with the watch. With the phone, I could see people doing that with a watch. And if you bought it that way and you can get a new watch when the next one comes out, I could see that happening. Otherwise, I mean, I bought the cheapest one possible because I figured that the real watch will be the one that has a cell phone in it, and
Right.
doesn't have to be paired with the with your iPhone.
LG Urbane 2 was supposed to have a cell phone in it, and
It was great for
They
the
canceled it.
9 days it existed or whatever it was.
yeah, there was some
Right.
technical issue with the display, I gather, but
Well, also it's about battery life.
I think that's got to be
assume
too. Yeah.
Apple looks like they just made something that would recharge. You could just recharge it overnight, and that was as good as they could get. And they're not going to put out a watch that you have to recharge more frequently than that.
Right.
And you apparently can't put a cell phone in this particular watch and still have a 1-day recharge. So it'll be a while. Battery technology improves at a glacial pace, and probably when the energy requirements of cell phone chips and battery meet, that's when they'll put out the watch that I really want.
Yeah.
The simple reason why there's not going to be another watch right now, probably it's going to be at least every 2-year cycle, is because it doesn't do anything. I mean, other than the fact of me liking this watch, there's no real reason for me to want this watch. Like, I have people ask me all the time, should I get one? Or I was going to come out with a new one. I'm like, nah, just get one, because there's not going to be a new one coming out anytime soon, because there's no killer new thing to tell me. And thinner, lighter, faster is all cookies and whatever, but the watch doesn't have a killer app yet or anything driving it besides the fact of them possibly making it thinner. I mean, you putting a camera in, it's not going to do it for me. It feels fine wearing it. So until they have something like dramatic that would make them want to buy it, like what I could imagine, they can't come out with another one right away. They have to wait.
So
and
it's
build a momentum on it.
safe to buy an Apple Watch as a Christmas gift.
Yeah.
Built-in GPS would be nice.
Yeah, many companies are doing that already.
Because that would
Well,
let you
Apple
go out
waits
for a
3
run
years to do
without your
everything.
phone.
You were just excited about a square that went on your tablet and turned into a real square. I mean, so you think
I think
there's
that-
a
I
whole
think I've
lot
seen
of
that
stuff
before.
Apple
Yeah,
could do
yeah.
that we know that should be done, but they'll wait and make you wait so then they
Right.
could go,
I have to say, having a phone on this is not my idea of a great. Mostly because I feel like the interface on these small devices, not just the Apple Watch, but all small devices, is tough. And if you're going to add a phone, now you got a dialer. How am I going to dial it? What am I need, a toothpick to dial it?
voice style. This is America. We live in the future. What are you talking about?
Talk to it, huh?
And you just push faces. You got the spin dial with the 10. What you mean dialing phone? You ain't dialing no numbers.
Does
on here.
that work for you, really? I mean, isn't that a movie trope, but I think a true one that, or a
I
television?
do it all the time.
Where you
if
go,
I'm in the kitchen,
call
or
O
something like
doctor,
that,
and it goes, calling your mom. No,
the dictation on this is great. I respond to a million text messages. I respond voice via text on this before my iPhone, and this is more accurate than my iPhone. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I'm I don't know, but this thing is accurate as far as voice
All
text dictation.
So when you say talk to the hand, you mean talk to the watch.
Literally.
Doctor, do you answer phone calls on the watch?
Yes, I do. At least 5-10 times a week.
Hey, this
I
is
don't
Phil Doctor. What do you want?
Number
What?
one, it's a short
I'm
conversation.
I'm down here.
What?
It doesn't sound like that. I'm in the kitchen. My phone's upstairs in the office, and I say, "What is it? Is it important? If it's not important, I'll call you back when I get to my phone." But at least I can answer the call so people don't blow my phone up, or I don't miss a call because somebody's dying in the streets and they need me. Sometimes you got to take that call.
Wait a minute. What are you, a professional lifesaver?
I'm a superhero. Don't worry about what I'm doing.
There you
over
go.
here.
There's an article for you. Would Superman wear an Apple Watch?
He gave Jimmy a watch, didn't he? Watch is very important to Superman.
He cares about time, especially when he turns the planet backwards.
Sounds that only he can hear.
Yeah.
And then he can go save people. That's the
Philip
difference.
Elmer-DeWitt, this was a good article idea. You decided to query IBM's Watson and Google about interest in the Apple Watch, and they came up with diametrically opposed results.
Yeah, if it actually has shifted a little bit today, but yesterday the watch was pegged at 100 on a scale of 0 to 100. It was on IBM's super smart Watson that beats people at Jeopardy. That's the world chess champion. They decided to stick it, to apply it to the market, and then you go back a little bit.
Or Watson has really
chart.
come down in the world.
Yeah, look at that. See, the Apple Watch is pinned at 100%.
You can't get higher than that, right?
Yeah. So it just finally fell. The last one, it's down to 77 or something.
Yeah.
But
wait a minute. Why all of a sudden?
Well, someone suggested that if they bought the watch as a gift on Friday, then they're not talking
lost
about
interest.
it anymore.
Yeah.
But I just don't believe it, because if you look at the same chart, the phone is 2. The watch is 100 and the phone is 2. Well, we know that they're going to sell at least 70 million phones, maybe 75, maybe 77 million phones this quarter. Apple will be lucky to sell 6 million watches. They're off by a factor of 10. So I just don't understand what this IBM thing is measuring. And when you go to Google Trends, as sort of to test it, it's the opposite. It's the watch is 2 and the phone is 48. So anyway,
now IBM's Watson is monitoring it says online conversations,
right? Like
the
reviews,
NSA, like what?
Like anything that they can get their hands on. They're looking at public reviews. They're looking at Twitter feeds.
Okay.
They're looking at Facebook, that kind of stuff.
I don't think conversation maps to purchases, though, because people buy a heck of a lot of Windows laptops, but there's not incessant chatter about most Windows laptops compared to...
I can't wait. I'm going to buy a Windows laptop. I'm so excited. Social media.
Man, I saw this Acer last week. It was gold, right?
Awesome, man.
I can't believe.
There's a lot to say about the Apple Watch just because it's new and it's unclear where it's going, and a Windows laptop is so mature that there's just not a lot to be said about it, even though it's useful and people are buying them.
So the red line on this graph from Google is the phone, and the blue line at the bottom there is the...
Even the iPhone is pretty mature at this point. Yeah. There's less to say about it.
Are these searches?
That's searches,
okay.
Yeah. And that's actually, I think it's the first derivative. That's how much search has changed. If I read Google correctly.
Growth. So it's growth in search.
Or growth or falling off,
And it's a lot bigger in Singapore than it is in Australia.
I believe that people are talking about the Apple Watch. I think that's true. I don't think, like Harry says, I don't think it necessarily translates to sales.
Search results would translate more to sales, though, right? Search means you're looking for somewhere to buy it.
BlackBerry has well under 1% market share, which you would never know from reading tech sites, where BlackBerry is still a really well-covered product, and people still seem to be interested in talking about it.
Well, let's put in the BlackBerry as a search term here. My BlackBerry Priv comes tomorrow. I'm so excited. All right, so now, I don't know what I've done. I guess
that's a teeny tiny line you can hardly see.
Go back up to right to the right of iPhone there.
Add
type
term.
it in there. Yeah.
Let's see where BlackBerry is on this list. This is fun. It's doing better than the Apple Watch.
So that's not nothing.
It's not nothing.
Yep.
That's because people that write
wait a minute. The scale is November. The scale goes. Nobody's talking about the Apple Watch of 2012 because there wasn't one. Okay, so I got to change the scale a little bit here.
I couldn't figure out how to change the scale.
Yeah. All right. So when you get a little more up to date, then the Apple Watch is getting parity with the BlackBerry, but the iPhone's dominating.
I think where it says 2004 to present up at the top.
Change
click
this.
on that.
Change it in the last.
There you go.
Hey, that's why they call him a technologizer. In the last 90 days. Now we're still pretty much the same result.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
You can put things like Amazon and Google. Google swamps everything here, but I think that's because people...
They search Google for Google?
They do Google searches, and that, it pops up.
This is fun.
And it is a general term of life.
Yeah.
Mom, how far is it to the moon? Google it.
Ask the Google.
Google it. Everybody says Google.
By the way,
Nobody
good
wants to
news.
answer any questions anymore.
My Apple Pencil is now fully charged at 100%.
Do you feel better about yourself?
Yeah, and it only used 2% of my iPad battery doing it.
Well, draw another circle and make it perfect because it's your birthday and you can do what you want.
Thank you, Doctor, for permission.
You're welcome.
Did you get a present?
A present for my birthday?
A birthday present?
No, when you get to this age, mostly you get people calling to see if you're still alive.
I was going to say, we're just happy he woke up today. He can't even get his little Rectus set over there working. He can't even get a triangle full going.
Yeah, that's another thing that happens when you get to 59. Yeah.
Technology, it wasn't like the new newfangled things today. These kids are wearing watches and things.
Get off my lawn.
That's it.
Most talked about Christmas gift, apparently, though. Philip, you don't even need to go to work anymore. You just use IBM Watson and Google, and you could get article after reams of articles. The Samsung, same thing. Samsung TV, very big. But that's because Samsung was cutting its price by 50% on its website of all of its TVs. They were doing, they still are, a Black Friday deal. It was pretty spectacular. We were kind of wondering what was all about. I guess they're clearing them out.
The number one present this year is a hoverboard.
Yeah, because I'm a real trendsetter. I gave my son a hoverboard in August.
That's because you're
Which
you.
one?
It's damaged already. Well, that's an interesting question. Now you've raised, because I started doing research, and it becomes very confusing. The original hoverboard, hoverboard, it's not, they don't hover. They're those two wheels,
It's a
self-balancing
Segway.
scooters.
It's a two-wheel
like a
Segway.
And so the original one was made by a Chinese company, which was immediately ripped off by 50 other Chinese companies. And it doesn't seem clear which one is superior to any other.
They're all the same, kind of.
I think they're all the same.
Are the expensive ones better than the cheap ones?
Well, and then there's a huge variation in price from $200 to $1,200.
So some of the things that are different is the battery and maybe 2 miles per hour on speed. And some of the more expensive ones has a Bluetooth link to your phone, so you can gauge the battery and know what the battery's supposed to be like, as opposed to guessing. But for the most part, in general, you step on it and it goes, and that's how it works. So the general purpose of them all is the same, and the price variant is nothingness. I mean, you can get them on eBay right now for like $150 or $200.
Are you a Funky Dunk or an IO Hawk?
I don't like the word funky dunk, so I guess
Funky Dunk got a big hit because Snoop Dogg or somebody wrote a Funky Dunk onto a Jimmy Fallon.
But see, that's the thing. If you were as well connected to the world as I am, I mean, there's endorsements of every which way brand possible. Yeah. I mean, everybody's get the free from, Wiz Khalifa got arrested on one at an airport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was Jamie Foxx, by the way. There he is on his Funky Duck.
Yeah. So they're in TV shows now. I saw my favorite video is they said when you find out your pastor's been spending church money the wrong way, and the church procession comes out, and then the pastor comes scooting out
on a Funky Duck.
One of those things. Yeah.
Well, I saw a guy in the street on a single wheel Segway it was just the wheel.
That's just dopey. Yeah, those have been around for even a little bit longer.
Okay.
So the IO Hawk, which is kind of ironic, they are literally rebranding an existing Chinese companies, and to the point where they named their logo after a rotated version of the logo that the Chinese company was using. So the Chinese company has a circle with a bar over it, and they said, if we turn on its side, it looks like IO. We'll call it the IO Hawk. But they didn't even bother changing the logo. So I don't know. I bought my son one, but I can't. I think I bought him one just out of decency. I bought him one. Wired had a whole article.
Why don't you buy all the employees one for Christmas?
No, because they're expensive. That's why. And
we get them from
and
Abu
they'll
Dhabi.
hurt themselves.
You get them from Abu Dhabi. It's great. They can scoot around the office. They'll be faster to work. You can get them for like $100 if you buy like 10 of them. So you can get 10 of them for $1,000. That's nothing. You spent that on a tablet that draws circles and makes them perfect for you. It's not a big deal. All out. AbuDhabi.com. It's like the Amazon for the rest of the world. Just get like 10 of them.
You might as well. They're probably cheaper there, and they're the same. I think.
They are. You buy them in bulk. You get the minimum of 10, and you get them for $100 a piece. I'm not saying I know, but I'm just saying I know.
I'm just saying I ended up buying the one that originally invented it because I felt like they deserved my money.
Well, that's what they're doing. They're going to the Abu Dhabi site, and like I said, if you buy minimum 10, you get them for 100.
Yeah.
If you buy 500 units, you can get them for like $50. Then they go put them on Instagram and give one to Snoop Dogg and charge people $400 or $500 for it, and they're just buying them from the same company and dishing them out.
Let me add hoverboard to our terms of Apple Watch, iPhone, BlackBerry, hoverboard. What are your predictions? Will hoverboard be
3,000% better?
Yeah, I figured it would be, but actually it's not.
Nope.
Hoverboard's right in there with the Apple Watch. Look at the dominance of the iPhone. Hoverboard's like the same as a BlackBerry. Let's
I don't know.
let's look over
one.
Let's look over the last year. I bet the hoverboard's bigger earlier in the year, right? Is that going to be? Is the hoverboard now? See, there's a little jump right there with the Apple Watch.
Is that thing not searching Instagram? Because I'm telling you, every from Justin Bieber to Soulja Boy,
Yeah.
everybody's got one. And they're all peddling a different.
My
brand of it.
son got on Tosh.0 with his hoverboard video.
Maybe the search isn't good enough because they're not calling it hoverboard. They all call them different things. That's the other thing. People are suing over who owns what right to it and all that kind of stuff now.
So I bought Henry his hoverboard for his birthday in August. And let me see the clip. Where's the clip? Why is the clip not showing? I want to show off. He got on Tosh.0.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, crashing his hoverboard.
Did he fall? I was going to say he must have fell. Something bad had to happen for it to make it to Tosh.0.
Oh, I guess after a while.
You
Oh, here
got
it is.
straight A's. Welcome
Here it
to
is.
Tosh.0.
Hover Joust. Why isn't it playing? It's not playing.
Have you updated your
Oh,
codex?
you know what? I turned off I have an ad blocker running. What do you think? You think that's probably doing it? You probably can't see it with the ad blocker. Yep, that's it.
Boom.
Yeah.
Not allowed because they want you to see the ads. Yeah, this has nothing to do. Your content will return shortly after we go through the North Pole and see cartoon. You can't even skip this. It's
Dora.
a Geico ad.
I hate it when you can't
With
skip
Dora
them.
the Explorer.
All right, here we go. Here, watch this. So this was at great expense, and I accidentally gave them 2. There you go, right there. That's it. That's it. I made my son's career. I got him on Tosh. He, by the way, was neither one of those 2 people. But when I went back for Father-Son Frat Day, I asked him, "How's your buddy doing?" He's always fine. He has another one of him falling down the stairs on his hoverboard.
Apparently, there is an issue with people using these things on sidewalks and knocking into pedestrians.
Yeah. Well, they had the same problem with
Yeah, they're banned in New York now.
Segways.
You get fined. It's like a $500 ticket.
do you have to ride it on the street or you can't ride it at all?
I don't think you're allowed to ride them at all on the street.
Really? Wow.
I'm almost positive about that. Don't
That
quote
was
me.
one of the things that
I'm
killed Segway. Segway, if they had been allowed to ride it on the sidewalk like they wanted, they might have even been able to make a business of it instead of what it is.
I think Segway's problem was that you look like a big fat dork on one. And I say this as the owner of 2 Segways and a big fat dork.
Why? You own 2 Segways?
Yeah. You want to
And
come
the
and
cost
ride
for
my
Segways?
Segway?
No, I want you to sell the Segways and get everybody in the Twit office a hoverboard. That's what I want you to do. Sorry, I'm getting notifications. And I'm doing my 8 time check-in. But sell those things.
I think
and
so.
get us
I think
some
really
hoverboards.
and this was unexpected because everybody thought Segway was going to change the world, but it really is how dopey you look because you're like 9 feet tall and you're wearing a helmet and you just look dopey riding these things.
And you've got the thing you're steering. Like the thing about those other things I like is that there's nothing in your hands or.
Well, that's why I like the
You just
Segway
scoot
because
around, you don't
you're
look
balanced.
weird.
You're holding on to something.
Can I tell
Yeah.
a Segway story?
Sure.
When I was an editor at Time Magazine, somebody pitched a cover story on Segway. It was about to come out, and we had an exclusive, and it was a really good writer. And
The Project Ginger. They called it the It.
Right. And the managing editor just didn't have a good sense of whether this was a good cover story or not. So he sent me to New Hampshire to kick the tires and get the pitch and kind of check it out. Anyway, I listened to it. I wrote it around. It was really, really cool. But their pitch was that when China and India, if they continue on the path of development that they're on, and everybody buys a car, we're going to go to hell. The planet's going to, choke on its own fumes, and the Segway would be the solution. And I was thinking, wait a minute. Right now they're riding bicycles, and you're suggesting they replace them with what was $600 Segways?
$6,000.
Okay, well, it just wasn't going to work, and so I suggested we run the story inside, which they did.
You were smart.
They got pedal power over there, so that was a horrible way to pitch that. when I was there, I think they give you a bike when you get off the plane.
It's awesome.
So like, here, take a bike.
It's
Like,
awesome,
just
actually.
Bikes everywhere.
I was there in 2009, and bikes everywhere still. Yeah, absolutely. And the pollution is horrific, but it's not coming from cars. It's coming from power plants.
Yeah.
Our show today brought, oh, by the way, happy NSA turns off bulk surveillance day.
On your birthday.
On my birthday. Well, that's a good question. According to the law, the NSA ended its bulk surveillance of phone records at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time Saturday. And they have some sort of scaled back system that involves maybe, perhaps, I don't know, a warrant. Under the Freedom Act, the NSA and law enforcement agencies can no longer collect telephone calling records in bulk in an effort to sniff out suspicious activities. No more can they record metadata, information about who you called and what time you called. They have to get a court order to go to somebody and say monitor those call records
In the U.S.
In the U.S.
Because their charter says they're only allowed to operate overseas. Right. So they were, that it was against the law all along, and it finally caught up to them.
This is, I think, salient. A presidential review committee concluded that all that bulk surveillance did not lead to one single clear counterterrorism breakthrough that could be directly attributed to the program. Excellent article in Wall Street Journal today, point by point documenting how the terrorists in Paris planned their attack. They used things like an Airbnb-like service to rent places. They used the internet in the clear. They didn't use encryption. They used cell phones. They had GPS. Didn't stop them. They weren't even hiding. So
there was a really good tweet that I retweeted to the effect that what we now know about the Paris terrorists, they were not Syrians, they were not refugees, and they did not use encryption. Yep. So what we're talking about in the U.S. is Syrians, refugees, and encryption.
Yeah. The Wall Street Journal does say that they took advantage of the influx of Syrian refugees into the EU as a way to move more freely. But they, because there was a lot of traffic going on. People weren't paying any attention.
So Snowden can come home.
It's time to come home, Edward.
Do you believe the NSA though in your heart? Just general question.
Well, I wonder. What are they? Yeah.
No, not wondering. Yes or no question. Do you believe that the NSA is turning it off? Yes or no?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe they've turned it off, but I believe they've replaced it with something that's probably equally invasive.
Yeah, I feel like it's like when I talk to my daughter and she says, "Can I watch one more show on Netflix before I go to bed?"
Yeah.
And I say, "One more 30-minute show." This
is it.
2 hours later, she's
Don't
like
make me
3
count.
episodes deep into something else going on. Nobody's watching her.
Knock it off. I'm going to count to 3, and you better knock it off. 1, knock it off. I'm telling you, NSA. 1, 1 and a half.
They're not listening anymore, so they can't tell.
They stopped listening.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I want to be fair, though, to the NSA. In fairness, those guys are trying their best to protect us from something like that, what happened in Paris, and they feel like this helps them. So,
to which a study said it did nothing to help, so they were just being nosy.
Well, but I don't think they feel like they're being nosy. Admittedly, there are some issues about what happens to that information and so forth, but I think that they feel like, look, we're trying to protect you. Don't you think if you were at the NSA right now, you'd be a little pissed off that on the one hand, Americans are saying, protect us, and on the other hand, they're tying our hands and saying, but don't do that.
Did you go through your kids' journals or read their emails?
No.
And you want to protect your kids from drugs and drinking and all the things that happen, right? But did you go and invade their privacy to help them? So, I mean, I just equate things down to small things. I know the world's a bigger place than that, and things are more serious than that. But I mean, like when you think of what you're trying to do to help someone, if it's violating them, are you really helping them? And if the cause didn't help the effect, then it really was a problem, more so than helpful.
But it's fuzzy. I mean, it's not as easy to know that the NSA really didn't, and we can't really know if they.
And we can't know we don't know if they were doing it out of the goodness of their heart with candy and gumdrops, and we don't know that they were sinisterly evil. So I just go for the middle of the board.
There's a wonderful subplot in The Good Wife, if you watch that.
Love that.
Where the NSA, there's a couple of guys at the NSA who become obsessed with the sex life of the heroine, whatever, The Good Wife.
Yeah.
So they listened into all her phone calls, and this deadline was coming up, and they were getting told by their bosses that they had to pull the plug. They couldn't listen anymore. And then she mentions Edward Snowden on the phone, just in an offhand remark.
Oh, jeez.
And they're
That's
delighted
provocative.
because now they can continue to listen to her phone calls.
Oh,
I will say this in defense of the NSA, that I kind of trust them to know how to keep a secret better than I trust some of the tech companies that are gathering up all this information about me. I mean, what do I know about how good Facebook or Google are at protecting the data that they have on me? I'm pretty sure the NSA knows how to cover their tracks.
But here's the difference. I think that's an excellent point. But here's the difference also. If Google knows stuff about you, what is the potential harm Google can do versus what is the potential harm a government, the federal government?
They can sell me things that I don't want.
Yeah, but compare that to tanks at your door.
No, what I care about is if Google gets hacked.
Right.
And then they get my docs.
Right.
They get everything about me.
Yeah.
If the NSA, I'm sure people are trying to hack the NSA all the time, but I doubt if it's as easy to hack them and get my docs.
We hope it's hard to hack the NSA.
I Booker in the chat. Give me my new book title, "Sex Lies and NSA."
Oh, that'd be good.
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start writing that tomorrow. That sounds like a good book.
Let's take a little break. I wanted to celebrate NSA Freedom Day, but maybe not. Maybe not. I want to give them credit for trying to protect us.
Like, that's why I was asking the question. I was really like, I just wondered what you thought, and everybody's gonna have a different opinion on it. I am not a trustworthy person. I don't give trust out like that to people because I don't know. I don't know the NSA directly, and I know people checking on ex-wives and husbands and neighbors and doing all kinds of sneaky, shady stuff because they're humans, and humans inherently are good and bad. So I don't know if they really turned it off or not. I hope they did because that's the way it should be.
And by the way, to your point, Philip, the chat room is pointing out that, in fact, the NSA was hacked by this guy named Edward Snowden.
Rather easily.
Who walked out the door with a considerable trove.
Yeah, well, he was an insider.
He was a contractor, yeah. Our show today brought to you by Carbonite. End of the year is here. And I think you need to make a resolution for 2016 to protect your data. Carbonite is the way to do it. Does your backup solution protect you against fire, thieves? Is your backup solution, do you have to remember to back up? Or is it doing it all the time? Is your backup solution continuous and automatic? Is it secure? Is it encrypted? Carbonite is. More than 1.5 million homes and small businesses trust Carbonite to back up their computers and their servers, from spreadsheets and emails to their digital photos, their music, everything that you love is on that hard drive. Well, not everything, but something about everything you love probably is on that hard drive. You got to protect it. You got to back it up to get it back. Try Carbonite right now. For a limited time, 30% off, up to 30% off. And, of course, you always get 2 free bonus months when you go to Carbonite.com and use the offer code TWIT. 2 months free. Carbonite. Don't make this be the year you thought about it. You planned to do it. You were going to do it. This is the year to do it. And save up to 30% while you do. Carbonite.com. I think didn't we hear this rumor last year? Don't we hear this rumor every year that Apple's going to replace the headphone port with a lightning cable?
I think that was an iPhone 6
last year.
Rumor originally.
Last year. It's back.
This is the year.
This
iPhone
year.
7. This is the year it's going to happen.
Really?
iPhone 7. They don't have anything else to push. What are they going to tell you? They already made the phone bigger, taller, thinner. How much thinner can it get?
It is a problem, isn't it? Doesn't Apple have a little bit of an issue? Like,
they more or less have to do it in order to make it thinner.
Yeah.
They have to do it. It's got to happen. And everything's Bluetooth, brother. You know, Bluetooth, no wires. You don't need it anyway. What do you need wires for?
I like a wired headset because it never drops out. The quality's better. For listening to music, I like a wired headset. That's how I listen.
Those are rational reasons that we're not trying to discuss in this conversation. Uncle Leo, we're talking about better, okay? Wireless means I don't get choked. I don't get hung up. I don't chew on it. It doesn't get frayed. There's all kinds of
Last
tomatoes.
June 2014, they did add the spec that allowed third-party manufacturers to create headphones that use the Lightning port.
Almost nobody has so far.
Nobody's done it.
Philips has, I guess.
The Fidelios. Interesting. That would kind of imply that they were thinking about doing this.
And what does Apple do best? It forces everyone to do things they don't want to do.
And feel good about it while they're doing it.
Is that C-port dongle working out well for them? Don't you got a dongle for you're sticking a pencil inside of your iPad.
Actually, this is by the way, if there's one complaint about the iPad is why didn't they figure out somewhere to put the pencil? Like this thing, I'm going to lose this $100 pencil.
Or stick magnets on it like Microsoft did with its new pen.
Yeah, and that's worked quite well on my Surface Book. It's there. But for some reason, the pencil is just free floating.
I think there'll be tons of third-party solutions for that.
Maybe. A loop.
No, they make their cords crappy for a reason, so you buy new ones.
Right.
They're not going to give you a place to put the pencil. You lose it, so you get a new one.
Are you a cynic? Oh, Doctor, you are a cynic.
I'm a realistic person. You think it's cynical, but I'm saying when somebody comes on TV and tells you thinner, lighter, faster, and it's pretty much the same thing, and you clap like I mean, I'm just saying they're shoveling cookies down your throat. And I love Apple. I'm Appled out. I got a Mac Mini server, a MacBook Pro, a watch, I got all. Look, I love Apple. I get it, but I'm just saying sometimes they just say stuff that makes no sense. You drew a circle and a square earlier, and you said, "Oh," when it snapped into place. I'm just saying, brother. That's what Apple does. It's not cynical. That's realistic.
What is it? Keith Richards said the man comes on the TV telling me more and more about some useless information supposed to fire my imagination, but he can't be a man because he doesn't smoke the same cigarettes as me. When was that? When was satisfaction? I'm watching my TV, and that man comes on to tell me how white my shirts can be, but he can't be a man because he doesn't smoke the same cigarettes as me.
Late 60s.
Yeah, the late 60s they were talking about this. It hasn't changed.
Same thing. Salesmanship. Got to be a good salesman.
Yeah. Well, there's nobody better than Apple.
So getting back to the iPhone 7, I was rooting for them to adopt USB-C with the next iPhone.
Yeah, I hope they will too.
Which it sounds like is not happening, but I would love to see USB-C be the connector for everything. Which
I'm ready for it.
Technically, it could be.
My Nexus 6P has a USB-C. My MacBook. I'm actually loving my MacBook. It's thinner and lighter than your iPad Pro.
The keyboard feel is pretty similar.
Yeah.
Lighter, faster.
I like the Type-C connector, and it's thin. It's thin like the Lightning, but I don't know. Apple's really invested in Lightning, though, isn't it?
It sounds like they're not planning to put USB-C on phones anytime soon.
You could, I'm sure, with USB-C, because it does carry data, you could have headphones that use USB-C.
You could do headphones.
Yeah.
It can do power.
All sorts of stuff.
What do you hear, Harry, about a smaller factor iPhone?
Another rumor, like a 4-incher.
Like the big ones.
That's like another festering rumor, I think, partially because people there's still a lot of people who like the smaller screen size. And at least I haven't seen any rumors where it's clear that it's a rumor because they're in the supply chain, as opposed to it's a rumor because a lot of people would like to see it happen.
I had a woman call the radio show today who had bought a Moto X last year, and she has till December to return it under warranty if there's something wrong with it. And she's trying to convince Motorola, she even used quotes from Steve Gibson in her emails to them, that the iPhone is the only secure phone. The Moto X is not secure, so it's faulty, so they should allow her to trade it in. It's falling on deaf ears. I said, Motorola is never going to admit that their phone is not as secure as the iPhone. It might not be, but they're never going to admit that. Is that a warrant?
Return policy? What is wrong with I don't want this thing. Give me my money.
Apparently, there has to be something wrong with it.
I'm dropping calls. Now, prove the fact that I'm dropping calls.
Yeah, that's what I...
Give me a new phone.
Yeah, that's what I told her is write to the CEO, write to Rick Osterloh and say, look, I don't, this is why you should give me my money back. He's just going to give you his money back. Your money back, because why should he fight it? Axel Springer, speaking of fights, the massive German publisher, has finally taken arms against a sea of troubles, suing iOS ad blocker. This blocker they're suing, there's several, but they're suing the one that's blocker without an E. It strips ads, as Apple has allowed blockers to do, from Safari, from mobile Safari. Lawyers for Blocker argue their software is legal and optional. The court apparently backed that at a hearing on November 19th, suggesting, moreover, that Axel Springer has other ways of fighting ad blockers, like halting access to the site when the software is detected. A final ruling is scheduled for December 10th.
Germany's interesting because it's like the center of ad blocking. Frederick Philo, who does the Monday Note, reported not too long ago that 40% of Germans use ad blocking.
Yeah, they love him.
30% of French.
We're actually going to interview the German company AdBlock Plus on Monday. They were the first big one, AdBlock Plus. Thomas Greiner and his crew were in studio a couple of weeks ago. They're going to come on Triangulation tomorrow and talk about this. We'll talk about this Axel Springer story as well. The Germans are anti. We've talked about it a lot with Jeff Jarvis, who spends a lot of time in Germany, and this is a conversation we've had on Twig about the Leitzungsichtrecht, which was the German publisher's fight against Google using snippets in its Google News product. And I think we've come to the conclusion that Americans are anti-government, pro-corporation, and the Germans essentially are pro-government, anti-corporation. The Europeans in general hate business. Is that true?
Well, Germans also have a reason to be able to be forgotten on the internet.
Isn't that interesting? Maybe that's a cultural need. Yeah. He says Germans are weird because they're very privacy focused. We call them sometimes blurmany because they were able to force Google Street View to blur people's homes if they asked for it. Like your home, it's visible. You walk down the street, but apparently you can't be shown in Google Street View. But he said there's a privacy crazy, but at the same time they'll all get in a sauna together naked.
You know what? Because they're person on person in the sauna. There is something inherently weird about people who scream about privacy. And you can have somebody who's 2,000 miles away from you looking at your front door, checking out your backyard, looking at the street you're on, and then hop on a plane and go right to your house. I mean, at least when I'm face to face with you, I know what's going on. You see what's going on. But there is a weird thing about that on the internet when you're sharing everything
I guess that makes
without
sense.
being there.
All right.
You know, if you invite me in your home and you say, "Hey, Owen, come look around," I'm looking around. That's fine. Now, if I showed up and said, "Oh, look at these pictures when I broke into your house and here's all your stuff," you're gonna feel some sort of way about it versus inviting me into your home and letting me see what's going on.
Also, if you're in the backyard in a hot tub with your neighbor, you probably don't want people peering in.
Well, let's not forget that the Germans have, as you say, kind of an unfortunate history, and many East Germans remember the Stasi, the East German police, and not a happy memory. So
I like Germany. Germany's a sweet place.
I was that was my last trip was to Germany. I had a wonderful time. I bought lederhosen.
Really?
Much to my embarrassment.
Do you wear underwear when you wear your lederhosen?
Yeah, I do because it's made out of deer skin and it chafes slightly, ever so slightly. But I didn't ask them if I should wear underwear. Maybe I shouldn't.
Do people not?
God, that's a horrible thought. Really?
Yeah.
I didn't get that deep into it. I got the chocolate. I
stick with the chocolate. Yeah.
I wasn't no lederhosens, no. And the weirdest thing I ate there was some cheese that they put on the grill, and it didn't melt, and I was scared to eat it, but I bit into it, and it was kind of delicious. And I can't remember what it's called, so my friend's going over to Germany. I'm like, ask for the cheese that they put on the grill. Get that cheese that
doesn't melt on the grill for me, will you?
Right?
Yeah. Apple has acquired FaceShift. And I'm interested in this because this is the company that makes the motion capture stuff. They use it in Star Wars.
It's really cool. I mean, it's you say something and move your lips, and then the if you can run the video.
Let me see if I can find the video. That is. So it's matching your. It's powered, ironically, by Intel RealSense. It matches your.
This is not a. The best one is when you see the cartoon. There you go. This guy.
So I'm an orc. Wow. So I think they in Planet of the Apes and in The Hobbit, Andy Serkis, as he's doing his body acting, also has a camera pointed at his face to capture his facial expressions, and then that way a creature can can look very realistic. And that's always one of the there's the uncanny valley. It's one of the tough things to do is to make these animated characters look real.
So the question when Apple buys a company like this is, what the hell are they going to do with it? And this one smells to me like an acqui-hire. There was something these engineers had done that they liked, or the skills of these engineers. Because I hope so, because I hope they're not thinking that they're going to make a chat room avatar.
Or just, hey, photo booth's going to be really great next year.
Yeah. And that's just like over-serving. I just want to type in a chat room. I don't want to have my face.
I don't need this.
A few years
in the game. Imagine the gaming sector if they have something built into where people are developing games, and you can look at it and play it and like be you in it or something like that. So
yeah, but would you buy that game from Apple or would you buy it from someone who actually knows how to make good games?
Well, I assume Apple would either license out technology to them or just have it as one of their features, something they could do that somebody else can't do. Especially as far as like games and things like that, because they have all these partnerships with those bigger studios anyway, where they've got certain things going on.
I feel like this technology's kind of here. It was really 6 months ago very popular. A bunch of apps they came out where you would. There's the Chinese app where you could be all these different characters, and it would kind of capture your face and your motion in this stuff. This seems like a very popular thing. The speculation is that maybe Apple has some interest in virtual reality.
Well, a few years ago, they bought PrimeSense, which is an Israeli company that developed part of the technology Microsoft used in Kinect. And when they bought that, people
that's
thought...
right. Out from under Microsoft.
Right. And so...
that's right.
As far as I know, they have not released anything incorporating any of that. So in both this case and that case, like Phil said, it's possible they were hiring really talented computer scientists.
Wouldn't that
rather
be
than because they cared about this specific technology.
Or they're working on some sort of virtual reality thing. I mean, Google is, Facebook is. Oh, that's creepy.
I mean, Apple has to care about VR long term.
Yeah.
Even if they're not working on anything that's going to be released anytime soon.
Did you get your Google Cardboard?
In the New York Times? Yes, I did.
Boy, I've just been showing that to everybody I see.
What do they think?
They love it. It's like scales coming off their eyes. And the best is the little kids who you especially if you show them a place that they know, and then they walk around and they walk into the next room trying to get into the room that they see.
Which of course you can't do,
Yeah. And it's fun.
That's interesting. I was wondering how real people would react to that. Of course, we've all used the virtual reality and the immersive video and stuff, but by putting it in whatever that is. 1 million? Is it 1 million home delivery Sunday papers? They exposed a lot of new people to immersive video.
My mom got it and asked what it was.
Did she do it, though? Did she put it together?
She sampled a little bit, and somebody was over at the house, tried it out, and showed it to her.
So there you go.
So it's the closest she's gotten to VR so far.
Yeah.
She's not going to buy any of the ones coming out.
She's not going to run out and buy a Gear
she
VR
will not buy
helmet.
an Oculus or...
No.
Well, Samsung's going to come out with a $100 one.
$99, yep.
Yeah.
I have the expensive one. It's not that. Even the earlier one was only $200. No, I bought that too. But no, I have the Gear VR that they originally came out, and you put your Samsung Galaxy S6 in it, and it's kind of cool. And I even have a camera that'll make this kind of video. It's kind of cool.
See, Leo, this is why we can't buy birthday presents for you.
No, you can't. I have everything.
You already bought everything.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the truth. I'm terrible. I'm terrible in this regard. And I can't eat anything anymore, so really I'm hopeless. But I do look good in clothes. I'm just saying. No, I don't. You saw the Google Easter egg that how much money did Lucas and Disney pay Google for this one? If you search on Google, I'll go to google.com. Did we already show this last week? I feel like, oh, look, Google knows it's my birthday.
Aww.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I was told they did that, but I forgot about it. Now, if I click this, is it going to be a search for me?
Probably.
It says "Happy Birthday, Leo" in the hover thing. What am I going to get? Me. Google, I love you. I don't care what you know about me, and if you sell it to the highest bidder, I love you. That's wild. The Google.com. So you all know about this because you've gone to Google during your birthday, but I never did. See, yours is just
I get plain old vanilla Google.
You get a boring Google Doodle. I get cake. Wow.
You know, Leo, when I found out it was your birthday, I looked you up on Google, and not the first thing, but one of the things that came up was Leo Laporte net worth. Have you seen that?
Yeah, that's not true.
I tried to put it. I tried to get the link put in the things we were going to talk about.
Wait a minute. Let me see. Let me see how close they are. It's not true, I'm sure.
And then it lets you compare Leo's net worth against Charlie Sheen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, add it to the list.
Philip asked to add it, and I was like, you know what? I'm not putting that in, but you're welcome to do it.
This is how people get hacked. They click on silly things like that, and it's a worm.
Who put this in my Wikipedia? Oh, they got it from a site called CelebrityNetWorth.com.
Yeah. Anyway,
I am the richest podcaster in Northern California. Or something.
That's not saying much.
Not saying anything. Saying zero. Zilch. Nada. No, in my where I come from, my people, the New Englanders, we don't talk about money. That's not allowed.
From New York. You're from New York, Leo.
In New York, we talk about money. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm worth a lot.
It's exactly how people talk about it too.
Hey.
In very general terms.
What are you worth? Tons. What are you worth? A whole bunch. Google.com, if you go there and you type a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, the search results, let's play the music too. Now, at first, my first reaction was, those Google guys, they are so funny. But then I thought, I wonder how much Disney paid for that, because there is a new Star Wars movie coming.
You think they had to pay him?
I think they made millions on this.
Is there such a thing as a
What is
sponsored
Google's net worth? And then, by the way,
doesn't it do more for Google because people are just going to go Google things just to do that? I feel like Star Wars is at that opposite spectrum.
They don't need to market anymore?
No, you want something, you're going to pay us for it. Because there's so many deals where there's Star Wars toothbrush, Star Wars toothpaste, socks, deodorant. Like, bro, they were on the bananas at my local grocery store. Like, it was like Star Wars banana station. Like, dude, they're making money hand over fist. So I don't know if Google got paid or Google paid out. But Star Wars demands money for everything.
All right. Well, then what about this page? A Google page. If you go to google.com/Star Wars, I can now choose whether I'm on the light side or the dark side. This is definitely an ad, right? Am I a Rebel Alliance or am I an Imperial fighter?
That's an ad.
Yeah. What should I be? I'm hovering back and forth.
Use the Force.
Don't even touch the mouse.
The Force.
Don't even touch the mouse. It'll just.
The dark
oh
side.
my God! It shows the dark side. Ah! So now apparently, if my icon looks like that sucks. Surely Google could have done better than that. They just made me red.
Put a red box over you.
Yeah. So here's how it's going to look on Facebook. Oh, man. Yeah, this is a big ad. I think the whole thing's a big fat ad. I've never seen so much marketing. Are you excited? Are we all excited? Philip, are you excited about the new Star Wars?
I'm not going to answer that. I'll just get in trouble.
We bought, how many seats do we have, John? We bought 22 seats to the opening night, December 18th. We're all going. But actually, I admit, cynical motivation because I read this book that said if you want your team to work together better, you need to make them think that they're all on the same team. You need to share common experiences. They said diversity is a bad thing in the workplace because if people think they're different, they're not going to work together in the hive mind. So you have to, celebrate your similarities. And then I think it's also said you should get them to march around in lockstep because that triggers something in the mind. This is why soldiers in boot camp, you do a lot of marching. You think that's a wasted time? No, because it unifies you as a force. And they always said, in fact, that soldiers aren't dying for their country. They're dying for the other guys in their unit because we're all a unit. So we're going as that's why I don't care about Star Wars, but I'm pretending to. I also love Doctor Who.
in my massive brain capacity, without me reading said book, I did tell you to get the team Segway so that you could essentially march in concession to build team unity. And you told me no. But I mean, go ahead and go to the movies and sit in the dark and not talk to each other about a movie you're not that excited about, to which I'm excited about and enthralled about. And next time you want to read a book, just call me and I'll tell you something very valuable and important to your soul.
Unit cohesion, my friend.
Yeah.
Segways. You know, it's funny because one of the things geeks and geek companies do is they play a game called Werewolf. And I actually do.
That's a fun game.
It's fun, isn't it? And one of the things you do when you're a villager, the village goes to sleep and then the werewolf preys upon the villagers. You all go like this in unison. And you do a lot of this stuff. And I think it's actually a pair bonding thing. It's a bonding experience. Now that I think about it, I have the people I've played what do you think? The people I've played Werewolf with, I feel like a close kinship to them. I would die for them now.
Well, okay, but I played Werewolf and I met a lot of cool people and I enjoyed them very much. There might be two of them that I'd consider defending their life for, but I'm not going to give my life for them.
Defending, but that's okay.
Yes, I would fight for them.
You're on your way.
Yeah.
Star Wars Mania.
It's exciting. I want to see the movie. I'm happy to see the movie.
I hope it's good.
Did you like the Star Treks that J.J. Abrams did?
Yes. The reboot.
They were fun. They were cheeky.
good.
They felt right. Like they felt good.
I like J.J.
I was like, man,
I like J.J.
It felt good.
Yeah.
It felt good.
Yeah.
So hopefully he does right by this.
George Lucas hates it, which is probably a good sign.
George Lucas hates
the new movie. He says it's going off in a different direction.
What?
And it's not what he
He's already come on record saying he hates it?
Well, hate is probably strong, but he says that he has a different vision for Star Wars in this movie.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
So it should be pretty awesome.
Well, based on the last three he did, I think it's a good sign.
Yeah, very much so. No Jar Jar Binks.
It strays from my original vision. Well, remember, now didn't he have it all plotted out before they even made the first movie?
Some of the books are amazing. Like, I don't know if you've read those books, but there's some of the books where you're like, man, you should make that movie, and they don't. So that's how the real world works. You have something with amazing content, you go off and make some cartoon doodly stuff because you're John Lucas, nobody can tell you anything. But
this is an interview which has not aired. He already recorded, but it'll be on CBS this morning in December. The issue was ultimately, says George, they looked at the stories and they said, we want to make something for the fans. People don't actually realize it's actually a soap opera, and it's all about family problems. It's not about spaceships. So they decided they didn't want to use those stories. You don't blame them. Family problems. Is that what you want them to be about? No. They decided they were going to do their own thing. So I decided, fine, I'll go my way and let them go their way, and I'll take their how many billions of dollars with me.
Everything is a soap opera. I don't know if people understand this.
Right.
Every show you watch is like watching General Hospital. You watch a show at night, you watch A-Team. Faces out there trying to get the ladies. They're trying to save some old lady from whatever. Guy hooks up with the girl. They save people. They move on. Everything is a soap opera. The NFL is a soap opera. This guy hit a girl. This guy saves his mom. Everything's a soap opera.
So, Philip, you can take a nap if you're not interested in this subject. Obviously, you're not. Luke Skywalker, J.J. Abrams says Luke is a huge part of the story. How much has he been in the trailers up to now? Zilch.
He touched R2-D2.
We think that might have been his hand. You didn't see his face?
His hand.
Was it his hand?
He's joined the dark
Which
side.
hand was it?
Who else is missing a hand?
Which hand? See, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who else is missing a hand?
No, he's the one. So we've seen his hand.
Yeah.
Is that going to be the big? That's going to be the big story, the big twist.
I had a good joke and I couldn't remember what it is. Who's the black guy in the old Star Wars?
Billy D. Williams.
Lando Calrissian.
Billy D. Williams. I was going to say, unless it's Billy D. Williams touching R2-D2. Who else has a black hand?
That's a bad touch. That's not a good touch. He touched me there, says R2.
Yeah. My daughter thinks that the BB-8 is alive, and I don't lie to her and let her get away with things like that, but it's super cute because she talks to it, and I'll be cracking up, and I'm like, it's not really a robot because we have the regular Sphero, and now she looks at that thing like it's real, and I crack up every time. So yeah, I mean, the kids are excited.
There's all sorts of rumors like this Harrison Ford will die in this one. You think?
I don't even think about that stuff yet. All I know is Luke's a bad guy.
I think Luke's the bad guy. I think you're right. I think Luke's gone to the dark side. Well, we know he's going to the dark side. So this is about him becoming. Wait a minute. He's never mind, I forgot. Is he Darth Vader or he's Darth Vader's son? He's Darth
Vader's son.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that.
Spoiler?
Everybody knows that.
Spoiler from 1981.
Oh, it's fun when you let a kid watch it and then they get like all upset. They're like, oh, no.
Yeah,
Like,
there are
really
videos on YouTube of that, aren't there?
Yeah.
ISIS does not have a help desk, okay? We talked about this a little bit last week.
Just go on the website and solve your own problems.
They don't have a help desk. This is an example of how media kind of blows this whole stuff out of proportion. Wired magazine, and I was a little suspicious. Wired had an article about the OPSEC manual for ISIS, the security manual for ISIS. Turns out really wasn't for ISIS. It was written, ISIS maybe used it. No one knows really, right? They're not saying what they're using, but the OPSEC manual was written, ironically, to protect journalists who are trying to operate in dangerous areas, how to protect your communications and your conversations. I think it was by a Danish security firm, the manual that they talked about, saying, oh, ISIS is using this. And apparently there is no 24-hour help desk. That was just kind of a media invention, a fantasy, if you will. Just wanted to clear that up.
A meme will circle the globe 3 news cycles before truth can get its boots on.
Yeah, and that's it. I like that. That's good. You've coined a new saying. Mm-hmm. I like that.
I think you got that from a meme.
I think there's a poster somewhere. There's so little to talk about. You can see I'm stretching here a little bit.
It's Thanksgiving. Everybody was busy stuffing their face instead of stuffing the internet with things.
Harry wrote a good article, actually a really interesting article about how Facebook... What are you eating?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's me.
Okay. I just want to show how prejudice and bigotry works. I assumed it was O'Docta. I assumed if somebody's eating, it's going to be you.
Because I'm a professional, Uncle Leo, right? And if I'm going to have snacks, I'm muting my microphone. That's all I can say.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Owen. I love you. You know I love you.
I'm on the East Coast, and it's dinner time here. So
I know. I'm sorry. We're keeping you from your dinner. We're going to hurry up here. We'll wrap this up here.
All right.
Let's take a break. When we come back, how Facebook... This is a challenge. Facebook's, what, 12,000 employees? Mm-hmm. How do you preserve... Google faces the same challenge. How do you preserve the magic spark that got the whole thing started and don't just turn into a faceless company like HP or IBM? It's not an easy thing to do. We'll talk about it in just a second because you did some good work on this one. But first, a little bit of a word from our friends at FreshBooks, which is a lifesaver if you're a freelancer, if you have to send invoices, if you don't get paid until you mail an invoice, this is for you. Because that's the thing you don't really enjoy doing, right? It's never was the part I liked about the job, rummaging through receipts, keeping track of expenses, creating invoices, sending them off to the client, tracking down clients who don't pay on time, all of that stuff. That's just not the stuff that's not why you got in business. But if you use FreshBooks, it's a lot easier. FreshBooks is a super simple cloud accounting software that's giving thousands of freelancers, just like you, just like me, I used it for a long time, the tools to save time billing and get paid faster. I was billing Rogers in Canada every month because I was doing call for help up there. It was such a pain. I complained to Amber. Actually, and I mentioned this before, the biggest problem was I just would never bill them, which means I never get paid. I had at one point 6 months worth of invoices, and I sold them all at the same time. They were not happy. Amber said, there's this new company just started up. This is in 2004. They're called FreshBooks. They're in Toronto. You're going to love them. And she was right. You'll be creating and sending invoices in minutes. You'll get paid up front. Yes, you can get paid up front. They have this thing called a deposit now in FreshBooks, so you don't have to cover costs out of pocket or wait till the end of a project to get paid. A lot of clients like that. It makes their accounting easier. You can organize expenses very easily. The FreshBooks app will take pictures of receipts, get them right into the invoice. Same thing with if you track hours, you bill time. It does it almost automatically right from the app. And FreshBooks has added this automated customer reviews report. You can see all your reviews in one place. So if you have customer reviews, this is neat. Post them on your website as references. They're adding features all the time for the freelancers. It's kind of a haven for freelancers. If you have a question, help is free forever, and you can always count on their award-winning support rock stars to go above and beyond. FreshBooks. There they are. Oh, they had it. You know what? This is a new picture. They get more support rock stars. They had to get a new picture. Bigger group. It's easy to get started. Totally free for 30 days. Go to freshbooks.com/twit. Make sure when they ask you, how'd you hear about us, you mentioned This Week in Tech. Start your 30-day free trial today, and we do thank FreshBooks so much. I thank them for making my life a lot easier and for supporting This Week in Tech. It's kind of been nice. It's come full circle. So what inspired you to write the article, Harry, about Facebook?
Well, if I can give a small plug, I wrote the cover story for our current issue of Fast Company, which is the 20th anniversary issue.
Nice.
And that is on the future of Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg's plans for VR and AI and drones.
They call it the only true unicorn.
Mm-hmm. So over the course of several months, I spent a bunch of time at Fast Company. And one of the things I talked about is essentially how, now that they have more than 12,000 people, they don't become kind of huge and bureaucratic and slow-moving and incumbent. I think right now they're doing a really good job of still being Facebook, but at a larger scale. And so the story you're talking about is essentially on how they do that. And I think a lot of it is they have this really distributed culture where they do their best to make every single employee feel like they personally are responsible for the culture. There is no single person who's responsible for doing it. They try to make everybody into an advocate for the sort of culture that Zuckerberg created originally.
Weird stuff too, like they write on wall. They can write on the walls.
Well, yeah, I spent a lot of time in their new headquarters, which they call Building 20, and it is one gigantic room.
Wait a minute, gigantic. It's 434,000 square feet.
It's an unbelievably large room with everybody sitting at tables. But
is it noisy?
It's not too bad. And any individual spot feels a lot like Facebook felt like 10 years ago.
Oh, interesting.
It's fairly humble. You can still write on the walls.
Yeah.
It's not particularly lavish looking, even though Frank Gehry designed it.
He wouldn't let him finish it. Like there's painting dripping down the walls.
There's exposed floors and girders everywhere. So it's still a fairly humble place, but it's just an unbelievably gigantic, humble
place.
Zuck
works at a table?
He still does.
He doesn't have an office?
He has his own conference room, but he still works at a table.
Yeah, you need somewhere to meet privately and plan to take over
Although that conference room is sort of like a fishbowl. It's all exposed.
Oh, interesting.
So when I talked to him for the story, if anybody was wandering by, they would have
seen
you
talking to him. Yeah. They'd look down?
You can look at
Avert their eyes?
It's open.
We don't want to see.
Another thing they do is if you're an engineer and you start at Facebook, you get to decide what you're going to work on in order to try to divert you into something you're personally passionate about.
That's smart. If you're big enough, you can do that. You can hire people just because they're bright and let them work on what they think is important.
Mm-hmm. I learned something which I didn't know, which is they have these inspirational signs everywhere. Like the one they have now says "Move fast and build things."
Used to say "Move fast and break things."
Right. And then Zuckerberg decided, well, we're a little bit too cavalier about breaking stuff. It's hard to do that when you're as big as we are. But according to Facebook's head of HR, Lori Gohler, there's no department that makes these signs. That the signs actually are created by sort of on their own by Facebook staffers.
Scroll down a bit more, you'll see the signs.
Yeah.
Oh, here they are. So staffers make these.
Fortune favors the bold is another one you see a lot there.
See, I have to say, if these were being made by the company, I'd have an aversion to it. It's like, oh, this is a little, like Stalin's Russia, But if it's made
cliche,
and it's made by the workers, although I guess if hey, it's 4:30 on Friday, we still haven't seen your sign. If there's pressure.
Hey, put up something positive.
You're not wearing enough flair. Yeah. You're only wearing 30 pieces of flair. Well, I thought that was the requirement. Is that how you want to be? You want to be the person who just does the requirement? It's that kind of company.
Hey, Leo, scroll down a little bit more on that so we see the address. Do you have the article there?
Yeah. Address?
The address, yeah.
One hacker way. Yeah. Very famous
address. Is that
address.
real?
Yeah.
That's true. And
Very famous.
the other
yeah.
interesting thing about that sign is that their old campus, which they're still using, was originally Sun Microsystems. And on the back of the One Hacker Way sign, you can still see the Sun logo.
Oh, can you really?
So if you work at Facebook, as you leave every day, you see the Sun logo.
Oh,
which
a little
reminder. Which is just a little
reminder.
reminder that if we don't keep
Yeah,
our eye on the ball,
we'll be
we
Sun.
could be Sun.
Wow. So they left it there on purpose. I kind of like that. They're conscious about their culture. I think that's reasonable.
They're super conscious about it. And at least so far, I think they're doing a really good job of not becoming bloated and huge.
Hey, Harry, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
It always seemed to me that Facebook, the main Facebook business, creating the Facebook page and getting people to sign up and share with each other, was the equivalent of the Google search. It's the main business of it, and just like Google has had trouble finding something else that makes money for them, has Facebook, the Oculus Rift, the other things they've gotten into feel like sidelines to me, and not big enough to replace their original idea.
Well, they totally. They certainly
have it wrong.
They certainly have the luxury of doing things like acquiring WhatsApp for $19 billion and acquiring Oculus for $2 billion because the core business is doing so well. I actually think they're doing a pretty good job of positioning themselves to do well in the future, because Instagram is one of the largest social networks in the world, and I think they have a really good opportunity to make quite a bit of money off of Instagram over time. Oculus, obviously, it's really early to say whether Oculus will be a large business, but Mark Zuckerberg's theory, at least, is that VR is essentially the next user interface. And so all the stuff we do today in something like Facebook, we will eventually do in VR. And if so, there might be the opportunity to monetize it. They're a lot more focused than Google. Google is doing smart contact lenses and self-driving cars and all kinds of stuff, a lot of which it's not clear what the business model is. Mark Zuckerberg sees AI, VR, and internet drones as really core to the mission of connecting the world. So they're not going to do anything and everything. They're going to do things which they see as being kind of the next step in the original mission of helping people share stuff. And everything they are doing, it does relate to sharing stuff. They're not doing VR because they care that much about gaming. They're doing VR because it might be the next interface.
Interesting. I just finished the Elon Musk book, and one of his secrets for attracting good people, which is what that article was about, was his mission statement is we have to colonize Mars. And everything he does is in the service of colonizing Mars. And one of the things that did for him was attract all these space scientist guys who were dying at NASA because NASA was doing nothing. They're all not, they all want to work for Elon Musk because he wants to go to Mars. And it's an interesting approach to getting the very best people in the field that you care about.
Zuckerberg, for a long time, has been pretty consistent. It's always been about helping people share stuff from almost the very start. But he just has a very expansive definition of what sharing things means and what connecting the world means.
Difficult, though, especially when you're a successful company, to acquire employees who will buy into that versus employees who buy into the stock options, And I'm sure that's a challenge because you get people, as you point out, they have 500 openings right now.
Yep.
They have to hire a lot of people.
They're hiring at huge scale.
And inevitably, I would guess the vast majority of them are there because they think, hey, I'm going to get rich at Facebook, as opposed to I share Mark Zuckerberg's vision. Elon's vision is so grandiose and wild that you could see space scientists would say, yeah, but saying we want to help people share, it doesn't quite grab the imagination.
That's the thing about Facebook. I mean, like when you're sitting there talking about their revenue, I mean, honestly, it seems like a big shell game to me because I'm like, what are you really making money on? Facebook, obviously, people promote ads and things on there, but Instagram, I see more people using the side hustle of Instagram, again, paid endorsements and things like that, as opposed to sponsorship that really doesn't invite me to do anything. I mean, like Ruby Tuesdays comes on and says, buy some Ruby Tuesdays. It's not like I can get a coupon or do anything from it. And I don't know, it just feels like a lot of shady business. At least the VR, them getting into that's something that could be physical. They could sell, they could make a profit, they could maybe dominate a market in. That's why Google's transforming into things like the car and things like that, where they can actually have something physical to make some money off of instead of all this digital make-believe fake money. that, trick stock market people into doing stuff. And stock options, Mark Zuckerberg runs around throwing away stock options like it's his job. Oh, we're going to give this school up to $1 million in stock options. Keyword in that sentence, up to $1 million. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But continue on. I'm sorry.
Stock options do not hurt, for sure.
Well, it helps acquire talent.
Right. But
I'm sure. I'm just saying versus the Elon Musk thing of telling a little boy, hey, we're going to Mars. And the guy's like, man, I've been wanting to do something like that my whole life. Or I've been.
It's a little harder. That's what I'm saying too.
I want to make a like button.
It's a little harder to get excited about Facebook's mission. Are they able to communicate that?
I mean, they kind of compartmentalize that. I mean, and presumably, if you're working on Oculus, you're excited about VR,
right?
Not about connecting the world in its uber sense.
And they've succeeded well with that. It's obvious when you see Palmer Luckey and the others that they're so jazzed about what they're doing, and they love having the Facebook money empowering that.
I mean, essentially, if people are there only because they care about stock options, I think fairly clearly Facebook will start to feel old and arthritic. Right now, they're firing on all cylinders. As a business, it's doing fantastically. I think compared to other tech companies that have gotten as large as they are and have been around as long as they have, they, generally speaking, are doing a good job of keeping ahead of the market. I think contrast them with Yahoo, for instance. Yahoo, 11 years into its existence, had all kinds of problems, which Facebook does not have yet.
Right. Facebook, of course, presciently, maybe not, I don't know, maybe it was prescient, when they bought WhatsApp and spun off Messenger into a standalone app, realized what many of us are now just starting to cotton to, that messaging is the next platform. Did you talk to him about that a little bit?
I did another story, which is on our website, about Facebook and Messenger, and how they essentially, after having acquired Instagram and not screwed it up, and acquired WhatsApp and not screwed it up, they took Messenger, which was essentially a feature within Facebook, and they hired David Marcus, who was the CEO of PayPal, and they started to treat it like a startup.
Yeah, that's smart.
And it has that scale. One of the big challenges Facebook does have is it's really hard for them to create anything new that doesn't look incredibly tiny and puny compared to Facebook, which has 1.5 billion users. Messenger had 200 million users when they started treating it like a standalone business. And a year later, it had about 700 million users. So like Instagram and WhatsApp, it's one of the few social networks that has the scale that it doesn't look tiny compared to Facebook itself.
And it's more than just messaging. I mean, I think that for messaging to live up to its promise, it has to become a platform for a lot of different things.
And there are a number of messaging apps that are like that. WeChat from China is like that. Line from Japan is like that. And if Messenger was just a feature within Facebook, it would be really hard to do that. So they told everybody that they would have to download the standalone Messenger app, which some people, including me, were unhappy about at the time. But gave them the opportunity to treat it like a platform.
How does WhatsApp fit into this? It doesn't look like WhatsApp, by the way, is adding features at all.
Yeah, I mean they basically have the luxury of having these huge messaging apps, each of which can go in a different direction.
Right. It could be a test tube.
Messenger is
22. No, that was only $1 billion. Well, no, it was $22 billion test tube. Yeah.
Essentially, Messenger has a lot of content. It has games. It's pretty flashy. It's going to have an app store.
It's got M, this personal assistant.
Which gives WhatsApp the opportunity to be kind of
pure,
plain vanilla, and not have a lot of stuff and not have any advertising. They also want businesses to use Messenger and maybe eventually WhatsApp for customer service. So if you're buying something from an e-commerce company, instead of talking to them via email, Facebook's theory is that's better done over Messenger.
Isn't that the trick, though, is to convince... It's not a platform unless third parties use it. If it's just a Facebook product, it's not nearly as interesting as if you could get, for instance, Amazon to use Facebook for customer service. But that's a hard sell. All these companies have ambitions of their own, and it doesn't seem like we're moving towards a unified universe anytime soon. It seems like, in fact, with things like Amazon stopping the sales of Apple and Roku products, that they're moving apart. That we're all moving into these silos. You're in the Apple ecosystem, the Facebook ecosystem, or the Amazon or Google ecosystem, but they don't talk to one another.
Well, those are different megacorps. Like, you got to think about things like when someone goes online and they complain or tweet about Comcast, and then someone from Comcast says, "Oh, can I talk to you in a DM and help you with your problem?"
Yeah,
like that kind of.
That's the worst experience. So the Comcast chat is so bad that I would
But again, I'm
love
saying,
to have it be in WhatsApp all of a sudden.
I've had instances where they go in a DM and they fix it a heck of a lot faster
Interesting.
Via Twitter than they do something else. So if Messenger could do something like that with those kind of companies, that could be useful for people because people are already there and they feel comfortable being there.
So
You're on
far, the
fire
companies are
again.
working with are small ones. Amazon is going to be a tougher sell. Part of Facebook's message to e-commerce companies is we can give you a better experience within Messenger than you can create by building an app. And people don't download apps anymore anyhow, so they're unlikely to download your app. And for a small company or a non-technical company like an airline, that's probably a more compelling sales pitch than it is to an Amazon.
Yeah. Saw a slide deck. I'm trying to find it on Business Insider recently about the messaging economy. Let me see if I can find it. But and how messaging. I think this is probably true. I don't know if you guys agree. It seems like messaging is the next big play, the next big platform.
It's the original platform,
Isn't it? AOL, AIM, and ICQ and all that. Yeah.
and email.
And email is messaging. Yeah. But messaging. I just downloaded and installed WeChat, for instance, and you can have your blog there. It has an Instagram. And I understand in China you could buy train tickets and get your laundry done. I mean, it's
You
everything.
can call a taxi.
Yeah. Uber's in it, basically. Yeah. But the problem is in the U.S., the Ubers want to be Uber. They want to be their own platform. They don't want to be on somebody else's platform.
And WeChat actually kicked out Uber.
Did they?
Yeah, because they would prefer you use their car service.
I hate to see these companies become so big. I feel like we would be better served, and they would be better served by being a large number of small companies than a small number of giant corporations.
Monopoly?
Yeah, well, we'd call Facebook a monopoly if there were such a thing. If we considered the category a business, I mean, there isn't anything like Facebook, and nobody can really compete at this point with Facebook, right?
Google just took Google Plus and basically declared.
Yeah, they gave up.
They were done competing with Facebook. They're doing something different.
And Twitter's something different. I mean,
Twitter's different.
Whatever Facebook is, it's the only one.
Snapchat is something different.
At least in the West. There are other networks in other parts of the world. But it's interesting. How much time did you get with Mark?
I went and talked to him a couple of times and also asked him some questions over email.
Unlike a lot of these guys, I mean, Bezos does interviews very rarely. Tim Cook only calculatedly. But Mark seems fairly available and fairly open. He's going to be taking time off soon, right?
He's taking off a couple of months. He could take up to 4 months of paternity leave.
Priscilla having
He's
a baby.
doing 2.
Yeah.
He's actually a tough interview too.
Is he?
He'll talk for
He's
stuff
savvy.
he cares about, and he cares about AI and VR, and especially what he's doing, which is actually really controversial in some quarters in terms of bringing connectivity to other countries, connectivity which is somewhat Facebook-centric. Internet.org, the thing they created, is attempting to bring internet almost everywhere on Earth.
Right, so they can use Facebook because it's really basically bringing Facebook to everywhere.
And particularly because it's called Internet.org, which suggests it's the entire internet and is a nonprofit. Some people aren't that crazy about the fact what they're giving you is not the entire internet, and it's not a nonprofit. I mean, right now it's costing Facebook money, but over time, if they want to grow and grow and grow, they will need more countries to have consumers and have consumers who care about Facebook.
Philip, you've been watching this space for a long time, and I've wondered this for a while. It's really easy. Humans are very narrow in our perception. We don't see the long view of anything. So it's really easy to assume that the dominant industries today will be dominant forever. We just think it'll always be Facebook and Google and Twitter. And it's clear that from the history of technology, which you and I have both covered for decades, Microsoft isn't the Microsoft of yesteryear. IBM's not the IBM of yesteryear. That there's a natural cycle to these businesses. And really after 10, 20 years, somebody else comes along. But it's starting to look like there are some incumbents, like Facebook particularly, Google perhaps, that might break this mold, that might, in fact, that we're done, that like these guys are going to be here for 400 years. Is that crazy talk?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I feel better.
Well, the theory of disruption, which is probably the only coherent theoretical basis for talking about these businesses, says that the companies, when a company grows big and successful and listens very closely to its clients and tries to improve itself in response to their needs, will eventually get eaten from below by
the innovator's dilemma.
Right. And, you know, is Facebook at the point where it's over-serving and that someone could come along and offer and start to take the parts of the business that Facebook isn't interested in and make money doing that, and then eventually improve to the point where it would eat Facebook seed corn? I can see that happening. And it's really the rare company that can disrupt itself and be willing to sacrifice its where its main business comes from in order to go in a completely different direction. There's an old saying that if famously Microsoft missed the ball on the internet and mobility.
Right.
And but if Steve Ballmer had gone to the board of directors and said, mobility is the next thing, we got to chuck Windows and throw everything into mobility, he would have been fired.
Because you'd kill your cash cow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Harry, are there? I mean, surely Mark Zuckerberg's no fool. He knows about the innovator's dilemma, and do you have the sense that he's aware of this and trying to beat the odds?
I mean, I think acquiring Oculus is attempting to get ahead of where the market is.
Yeah.
Because in theory, VR is something that could reset the market in the same way that the PC reset the market for computers a few decades ago, and then the internet reset the market, and then mobile did. So
we just don't know what's coming down the pipe that might reset the market.
And
Can
Facebook.
I just jump?
Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to say, Facebook has the general marketing strategy that is a timeless tradition. You know, when Christians wanted to spread the word, what do? You go to third world countries, you build a school and a church, and you bring them Bibles. He is going out there and he is building the internet, and he is bringing them Facebook, because that's how you bring more people into the flock.
He's
and that's how you
proselytizing
convert
for
more
Facebook.
people. So, I mean, when you sit there and you think about Facebook and his global reach, I mean, it's a very traditional marketing plan to bring people into the fold, and he is doing it, quote unquote, the right way.
It's
When
traditional,
someone
but Owen, he has tools that people haven't had before.
And he has the tools that they need to make them love him.
Yeah.
So when you come there and you bring someone the future to which they have no knowledge of, it's like opening up the sky to them. They will have access to so many things they never had access to. So who are they going to be loved and be favored?
Right.
Facebook. So if Facebook rolls that out, I think that's the best thing they have going to sustain Facebook's dominance and growth. I mean, they're jumping in here in these markets and they're doing strategic moves in the markets. They're not chucking everything for mobile. They're like, look, let's go get ahead of the curve on this. If it flops out, it's not a big deal, but we're already there. But what we're still building the main concept of bringing people in to love us, because guess what? I don't really like Facebook and all the stuff you guys are talking about. I don't care, because I am a cynical, horrible person. But when I see him going out and building this little spaceship plane that's going to be bringing internet to people who've never even had anything, I say, hey, good for you, Mark. You're a good dude. Normally, I don't think that about the guy. Yeah. But when he's doing things like that, it's indoctrinating, it's bringing in new people, and you look like a nice guy all at the same time. So I'm just saying, they might be around for we might be buying Google stocks and Facebook cookies. I don't know.
The Facebook, though, does run into the same problem that Google has, which is that Google basically is using money that it gets from the U.S. and Europe. That's where their advertising brings in revenue.
Right.
But their growth is dependent on spreading the internet to the rest of the world. The problem with the rest of the world is that they don't spend like the U.S. and Europe does. So basically, how at some point Google and Facebook run out of world, and then how do they grow?
Microeconomies.
What is it Tesla says? We're going to Mars.
Going to Mars, right.
People are making money on the little cell phone transactions. There's a lot of things in economics that goes on in those third world countries that makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
a lot of
again,
crumbs add up
you have
to
the potential
pretty big
to
load.
get into the market.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, Mark Zuckerberg really does think incredibly long term. I think he's thinking about 20, 30 years from now, when some of these countries where people don't have a lot of money do become consumer markets. He controls 57% of Facebook. He doesn't really have to care about what his board tells him to do. He doesn't seem too worried about the stock market, and he has a lot of patience.
He doesn't have to worry because he still owns a controlling interest in
he-
Facebook,
he-
which is unusual.
No one can tell him what to do.
Yeah,
And,
it's really amazing.
And he really does have long-term vision in a way that other companies
that's-
don't always show.
That's not the question. I mean, certainly the brightest minds at Google have been looking at this for their entire lifetime. Its question is only, can you see that light coming at the end of the tunnel and prepare for it properly?
Well, they don't see it when it comes to social because they bombed at every turn when it comes to that.
Google
They better
did,
hope
yeah.
this car thing works out because that's the only cool thing I hear coming out of Google right now is them telling me I don't have to drive anymore on the weekends when I want to. But, again, dipping your toe where you shouldn't do it, but they still have to try because one day they might hit a home run, but they haven't so far.
That slide deck I was talking about is on Business Insider. If you search for Michael Wolff, he is a former Yahoo board member and an investor, and he wrote a great slide deck for the Wall Street Journal's conference about the tech and media outlook for 2016. Mary Meeker does this every year, too. And I guess we now have competing talking heads over these things. But he does, in fact, point to a very big change in attention and how people are assigning their attention and the opportunity that provides a lot of business, including messaging, but also new media. He says a $1 billion business can be built by capturing less than a minute of an average user's daily attention. There's money. There's gold in them thar hills.
To which someone in the chat also says something that irks me, and I can't believe I forgot about it. The fact that Facebook is getting free money off of these videos that are stolen and posted by people because they don't have a way to pull down ads like on YouTube.
Right.
Where if you go and steal somebody's content, YouTube pulls it down from you.
I'm sure they're
Facebook
going to
is
fix
just-
that. They know they have to
And people,
fix that.
if they're going to fix it, they've been letting it run rampant for a long time now. And for a company that's 12,000 and still agile and still keeps the culture and the blah, 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 moving fast, they haven't fixed that problem because that problem makes them money.
Yeah.
I'm done.
No, it's a good point. Messaging, the fastest growing online behavior in the social landscape over the last 5 years. Look at this, the growth of WhatsApp, even greater than WeChat, Instagram, Snapchat. Messaging will add 1.1 billion new users in 2018. It's really an interesting deck. We're going to take a break. Come back with some final thoughts. Our great panel here. Owen J.J. Stone. Oh, Doctor. The Technologizer. You all have to have nicknames. The Technologizer. Mr. Harry McCracken from Fast Company. Philip Elmer-DeWitt. PED. It's a terrible nickname. Terrible nickname. He's the PED dispenser. Here he is from Fortune.com. We'll find something for you. We got
That original Mac email address. I still got my Mac. StoneLife@Mac.com, baby.
Stone Life?
The Stone Life. Keep
Wow,
that
that's
Mac
gangsta.
rolling.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old school Mac.
We're going to take a break. Come back with more. Our show today brought to you by My Razor Harry's. I love Harry's. A great shave experience for a fraction of what you're paying now. It's the holidays, and it's time to go to Harry's to get a gift for that special man in your life. Harry's has something for everyone, whether it's a Secret Santa gift for your office, because you don't want to spend a lot on that, so you get shaving kits start at just $15, or a special loved one who's hard to shop for. That beautiful winter Winston set. Oh, I love that. That's good looking. And you can get it monogrammed. You can get a special case for it. They've really done it up. Harry's was started by two guys who are passionate about creating a better shaving experience by delivering an amazing shave at an affordable price right to you, eliminating the drugstore markup. That's a lot. They're not trying to make a mint selling you the blades when they give you the razor. They also give 1% of their sales and 1% of their time back to the communities they serve. They're great people. Getting started with Harry's is simple. Over 1 million guys now have made the switch to Harry's. So visit the website, harrys.com. Where's my winter Winston? I have it here. They actually have some
I'm gonna
nice.
give him a shot. I like that razor, Uncle Leo.
Yeah.
I'm only shaving my head. I don't have any hair. Really
Now this is the gift box. This is for like the special guy. Maybe your dad. I think your dad would love this. It's a beautiful box. Look how shiny and pretty that copper
I'm
handle
special.
is.
I deserve gold.
You
I
deserve that. You get it monogrammed with his name. Of course, all the kits, whatever the price, come with the handle, 3 blades, the Harry's travel cover, which I really like, and then you can choose the shave cream, which I'm a fan of the shave cream. They also have foaming shave gel, which is a lot more traditional. I like the cream. I think you get a better shave with that. But look at that. Wouldn't that be a beautiful gift? You can find it there at harrys.com and take $5 off that gift. You don't have to tell Dad about that part when you use the offer code TWIT5. If he's already got a Harry's, consider the monogrammed Harry's stand. It's a nice heavy aluminum. Holds your razor up there. Looks nice. It's a great gift. They've got a new Harry's travel kit, too. Lots of great stuff. Harrys.com. You're going to love it. The copper-plated razor handle. The great travel bag with the upgrade set. You could buy it separately if you want. Harry's, HARRYS.com. $5 off your first order. Use the offer code TWIT5. And you'll also get free shipping for the holidays, but that ends December 10th, so you better hurry. To Harry's. They named it after you.
I'd just like to point out that all Harry's products are monogrammed for me.
You don't have to get a monogram. Harrys.com, the offer code TWIT5.
Keep your eye on that box, Uncle Leo.
I know. I might. You know, I'll give
that box.
Here, you know what? I should give it to you. Let me give it to you as a holiday gift. Really provocative article in the Lefsitz letter. I kind of wanted to talk about this. I actually tweeted it, and people were irate. The Lefsitz letter is an industry insider written by Bob Lefsitz. He's been around a long time, and he's been I think a pretty stalwart defender of the music industry until Adele. And he is mad at Adele. Adele, of course, announced that she was going to keep her new album, 25, off the streaming services because she could make more money selling the album to people who couldn't hear it ahead of time. And, in fact, it's worked. It's the fastest-selling album in years. The record industry is saying, we're back, baby. He says it's the last gasp of a dying paradigm. He says, Adele can do it because she's Adele, but she's pulling the ladder up after her because those streaming services are critical to the success of acts no one's heard of, including when she first started, Adele. But now that she's famous, she can sell her album without the streaming acts. He said she had an opportunity to boost streaming music, to support streaming music with her music, but holding her album back is a victory only for her.
Taylor Swift did this, and she sold a lot of albums, and she broke records of her own. Then later
As
on,
did
she
Adele.
put the music, and then later on, what they'll do is after the initial sales went down, then they put them on the streaming sites. You're crying over spilled milk. If a person wants to make money off of their product, that's their business to do. To which is what they're doing.
It is, but I think he's making a good point. He's saying this is not good in the long run for music in general. And yes, it's been very good for Adele, and nobody's questioning that.
Am I not listening to my streaming music because Adele's new album's not on there? That'll be on there in like later. Am I not listening to it? Because how many Adeles are there? Just like you're just saying, how many artists can do it? It's a rare thing for it to be such a big deal for an artist anymore. Because not that many artists are that big or that explosive, or we can't even tell if they're ever going to be that big or explosive because they nickel and dime themselves with streaming music. So I don't know.
Well, certainly Adele's album sold well. 42% of total music sales this week is that. Almost half is that. 25.
It's available on BitTorrent.
Well, that's something we shouldn't forget, is that the biggest competition for the record industry and streaming music is piracy.
She bought Lionel Richie a steak.
I thought, you know, it's funny because I tweeted this and I got half the people said exactly what you just said, Owen, and good for her, and don't worry about it. And the other half said, yeah, that's a common problem in the music industry is once you get big enough to do it on your own, you don't really look back to support the people who need you.
The music industry is such a pit of sharks, and for a lifetime they've robbed so many artists. I don't care what they say when they're talking about artists and helping other artists. They've robbed more people than they've helped.
I agree.
As far as artists are concerned.
I agree,
so
and I don't
if
think
she wants to go out there and get her steak dinner, then kudos to her. Rip them before they rip you, because when nobody wants to buy her 15th album, ain't nobody gonna be trying to help Adele. Then she better eat while she can.
Well, that's true. Not a bad point.
Hello from the other side.
Hello.
Get that money.
Hello. How'd you have a good Black Friday? Black Friday online sales, $4.5 billion. That's 34% of all 34% of all those purchases were made on mobile. Wow. People do their Christmas shopping on mobile.
Wish.com or Wish app.
Wow.
Wish app.
Probably Amazon, I would guess.
Amazon, eBay, everything.
Yeah, eBay.
I just got so many push notifications from the Wish app, I had to uninstall it.
I don't know that one.
It's one of those aggregated sale things. They sell T-shirts, they sell sneakers, they sell a video game. Like, they sell everything, but they were blowing my phone up. I forgot I even had the app.
Leo, this was also the first Black Friday where online sales, there were more online sales on Black Friday over Black Friday weekend than there were store sales.
There you go.
So that's actually a sort of historic transition.
That's a turning point, isn't it?
Yeah.
I hope it continues and all sales on Black Friday or online. It's the saddest thing in the world to watch human beings act like dogs fighting for scraps of food at a store for a Lasignia TV that's going to burn out on them in 3 months anyway with a 60 hertz refresh rate. Like, do you know that TV's garbage? Do you know that the fact that you're putting that television in your child's room is probably giving them radiation in their brain? Just stay home and order something from Samsung that's useful. And you know what? If you're that poor and you can't afford anything, then you shouldn't be shopping. And I know this audience isn't that audience, but it makes me so sad in my heart to watch older women fighting over loaves of bread. Like, what are we gonna do? We ain't got no food, Leo.
Well,
like,
somebody said all those gloating videos of Black Friday fistfights are really just the affluent mocking the poor, because after all, one of the reasons people shop Black Friday sales is because they can get a great deal. They're saving money.
The affluent should not be happy. If you're affluent and you laugh at this video and you send it to your friends saying, look at these poor people, just remember, these poor people are going to be taking the food off the shelves when you're trying to get something to eat, because you can't fight like that. You ain't got no heart like that.
They're training for the zombie apocalypse.
You've been sitting there watching these videos, eating little Facebook stocks, and you can't compete. I dare you to go down the store with me and try to get some food off the shelf. You going home hungry, and I'm going to stay big and plump just like I am. Don't laugh and make fun. Affluent people.
Did you go out? Did you go out for Black Friday? Or did you stay at home?
I'm never going out for Black Friday. I never will. I'm black, but I'm not out on that Friday because it is despicable. And I said dogs for scraps, and it's sad. Yeah. Sad.
I went to Best Buy briefly.
Just as
Friday.
A reporter for research purposes?
It was fairly hellish. There were like shopping carts turned over, and they had blocked off aisles. I was trying to go down an aisle, which they had blocked off because they had some stands set up to sell stuff.
I feel terrible for the folks who work retail on Black Friday. That must be just awful. Just awful.
They also were not taking any returns at all.
Yeah.
Who wants to stand in the line?
Somebody called. So Target offered a 55-inch Westinghouse TV for $250. I had several people call the radio show saying it didn't work when they took it out of the box.
I told you.
One guy called Target and said, "Hey, it's got big black bars going through the middle of it." They said, "Well, we'll give you your money back, but you ain't getting another one. That's it. We're sold out." I don't know why you'd want another one. So when you say, by the way, Philip, that this was more people shopped, it's not dollar amount, it's number of Americans. 103 million Americans shopped online on Black Friday. 102 million went to stores. This is the National Retail Federation's Thanksgiving weekend survey.
Right, and apparently they changed their algorithms so that you can't even compare this one to last year's. So for what it's worth. But you're right, it's people, not dollars.
People, and it's inevitable, I think, right? Especially because of the dogs fighting over scraps. It's a lot easier to
It's bad. Like the only I heard one person that got a good deal, like a friend wise, because I don't know too many people to go out. He's like, I went to Best Buy at the end of the day. Now this sounds like a great deal to me, and he didn't have to fight or do anything. He went in, bought an Xbox. It was $50 off, 2 games, and he got a free 40-inch TV. Now it's a crap TV, but I mean, like, man, I don't even want an Xbox One, but a free TV, I guess I should have bought one because I'm gonna buy one and I can go give somebody else a little.
So you swear you don't play Xbox One because you don't like the culture of the Xbox One.
The culture
community.
of people on Xbox is horrible. Like Uncle Leo, and I usually am the kind of guy that buys all the systems. I've always had all of them, but the Xbox is just people are so rude.
Oh, that's sad.
maybe
I
it's
like
just the
my
Halo
Xbox
crowd,
One.
But are you on there playing shoot 'em up with people?
No, I don't
Are
go
you
online.
playing?
I'm too
Okay,
shy.
Well, then there you go. You're not online. You don't have to worry about it. Enjoy your Xbox. But most of the games I play, it's online, and we're talking smack. And I understand, haha, I just shot you in the face. But when you start talking about some old racial, biological
that's not
warfare,
allowed.
I'm like,
That's
bro,
not okay.
you killed me in the game. I'm sorry. Now
That's
I just
not
want to.
okay.
Hey, you die in the game, you die in the game. But when they start verbally attacking,
No,
I'm
that's
looking at
not
myself,
okay.
how do they know?
No.
How do they know that I'm fat, bald, and got fish eyes? How do they know? I ain't got
They
my
just
camera
figure.
on. Like,
They just
yeah,
figure, and they got
just-
you.
They throw out nets and
They
get
throw out
everybody.
nets.
They say anything, and a lot of them are kids. That was the other thing that got me.
That's depressing.
It was a lot of kids on there just talking. I'm like, where is your mother?
The trash talking. Yeah.
So,
Cyber Monday, is that a thing tomorrow?
In theory, but what real person ever uses the word cyber to describe anything?
I think it comes from the days when they said, oh, well, what's going to happen is when people get to work and their fast internet connection, they're going to buy a lot of stuff. But whose work connection is faster than their home connection these days?
nobody's anymore.
Nobody.
Your
John's
phone's faster
dancing
than
up and
some
around. We
people's-
have a pretty fast connection here.
Your phone is faster than some people's connections.
That's probably true. And there's a Raspberry Pi, a new one for just $5, the Pi Zero. It's so inexpensive, they're going to give it away in the magazine. If you subscribe to the Magpie magazine, it comes with a free Raspberry Pi. Remember those days, Philip, where you get a CD or a free game in the magazine?
I complain and I talk negatively about stuff, but I love this company.
Now
so
you
much.
get a
They have
free
so much heart.
computer in
It's not
every
even that.
magazine.
The fact that they're doing that and the way they do things is just so amazing. And like, that's a company like, hey, the price point for people and the barrier for people to get in, they couldn't afford it. We're going to do this. And then they actually go and do it. And people can afford it. And you can at least give it a shot and try it. Because there's so many, same thing I said, like Mark Zuckerberg making those plans for those people that don't have it. It just makes you feel good because it's an awesome thing to do.
It's got
And
512 megs of RAM. I
HDMI.
remember when 8 megs of RAM was like, wow, you're living large. It was thousands of dollars. A Broadcom BCM 2835 processor, micro SD memory card, mini HDMI socket, so you can output video at full HD resolution, 60 frames per second, and micro USB for data and power. $5.
What's the input device?
Well, it's got USB, so you could use a keyboard and mouse if you wanted to. But most of the time, these are embedded. I would say most people use these for embedded devices. So you might put this in a picture frame and have a screen and make it a. I think that's what I would use this
Turn it
for.
into a robot or something?
Yeah, it's mostly used embedded. But you can absolutely, in fact, of course, you do have to connect a keyboard and mouse to if you want to program it or upload data. But usually what they do is they put it on the micro SD card.
It reminds me of the Apple One.
It's more, I'm sure, much more powerful than the Apple One.
But it's it's like not really a computer. It's it's not.
What makes a
most people-
computer?
I don't know. For me, it has to have a keyboard and a screen. But
Well, you can add a
that's me.
keyboard and a screen. It's got an HDMI output.
Yeah.
It's got a USB input.
It's sort of computer not included.
For $5, I mean, it's kind of hard to complain.
Comes in a
to the
magazine,
point of what I
Philip,
just
in a magazine.
See, I just tried to go and be all nice and peaceful, and you're going to come and bring down the shit.
Comes in a magazine.
I want to be nice.
It's
Here you
more
come.
powerful than a $2,000 computer from 10 years ago. It comes in a magazine. Next to be in a cereal box.
That'd be an awesome cereal box present. Cereal box
Oh.
presents are horrible. That would be awesome.
Wait till
Somebody
they
should get
start
a
putting them in
case of-
Cracker Jacks. That'd be cool.
People still eat Cracker Jacks?
Yeah, but if you've had a Cracker Jack lately, the prices have really gone downhill. Mostly just like stickers and pieces of paper and stuff. Not even in a little plastic soldier or anything. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ground to an absolute halt. And that's really the only time we end to it, is when the train just stops moving and everybody falls off. Philip, always a pleasure. Thank you for being here. Philip Elmer-DeWitt, Fortune Magazine. Go have dinner.
Thank you.
You're going to have a nice Yankee dinner, maybe some baked beans and
I think it's reheated Thanksgiving stuff.
Apple pan dowdy. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're all having old turkey. Oh, well. Have a great night. Thank you, Phillips. Always good to have you here. Harry McCracken, thank you for making the trip up with Marie. Nice to see you. You brought Mike O'Donnell along with you.
The whole team.
The whole team. You bring. Harry comes with his own personal photographer.
Actually, Michael came on his own, as far as I know. So
okay. Harry McCracken, got to read that cover story in this week's Fast Company.
Buy lots of copies.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the December-January issue, so it's not this week's.
This
issue.
week. What am I saying? Nothing's this week anymore. This quarter's Fast Company. Big Facebook issue. Really interesting stuff.
Thank you.
Nice to have you, Harry. And, of course, Owen J.J. Stone. We call him Doctor. No one knows why. Wait, knock it off. We're not done yet. He's playing Call of Duty.
It's been 2 hours. I haven't shot anybody. I'm addicted. And I just got look and see. I got to pay attention to you. You got to be getting shot.
He's still
I'm dying
moving.
in the streets, Uncle Leo. I'm dying in the streets.
Which one is that?
Is this off my shoulder because I'm a professional.
He's playing over his shoulder, and he died again.
Oh, the studio audience, you should not be laughing at me. You're on punishment. Everybody be silent.
I would watch this Twitch channel. Doctor plays over his shoulder. It's a whole new Twitch channel.
I'm walking in the walls. I don't know what's going on.
Left. Just remember this: left is right, and right is left. Yeah.
Happy birthday, old man!
Thank
I remember when you were young. It was a long time
Thank you,
ago.
Youngster. You were a mere child. It was
a long time
I don't even
ago.
remember that.
You are. The silver's been in there for a while, Uncle Leo. So I don't know.
Go shoot somebody. Go shoot.
Hopefully you make it to next year. That's all I'm praying.
Your score's going down, man.
I know. I'm dying inside.
Yeah. See you, Owen. Thanks to all of you for being here. We love doing this show. I hope you enjoy watching it every Sunday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 2300 UTC. If you want to watch live, you could be in the chat room too, irc.twit.tv. If you'd like to join us in studio, great studio audience. Nice big one today. I love that. Email tickets at twit.tv. We'll make some space for you in the studio. And, of course, you don't have to watch live or be here live because we always make on-demand versions of all of our shows available at twit.tv or wherever you get your podcasts. We've got Twit apps on the Apple TV, the Roku. We got Twit apps everywhere on every platform, thanks to our lovely, talented, independent third-party developers who do those for us. We thank you. And, of course, we're on Stitcher and Slacker and all the different radios. We're going to be on Google Play Music pretty soon. We're on Spotify. Just make sure you find Twit, subscribe to it, download it each and every day.
Best of submissions.
We do have the holidays coming up, and what we like to do to give everybody a little bit of a break is do a best of. I guess our best of will be December 28th.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So we're going to do a holiday special. We're talking to people about that. But then on the 28th, it'll be a best of. Not a rerun, but just highlights from the past year. But we do that with your help. So if you can visit twit.tv/bestof and just write in moments you remember, whatever detail you can give us. You don't have to know what time or anything. It helps if you do. That'll make the editor's life a lot easier. But we're looking for the best moments from 2015 at twit.tv/bestof. That'll help us, and we'll have a great show for you. I know we will. I already saw some of the clips on December 28th. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Another Twit.
This is
It's in the can. Bye-bye, everybody.